On a crisp fall night, across sweat-stained fields of green. For over a century, these battles for bragging rights have raged across the nation. Tradition, camaraderie, and a desire for victory like no other create a passion among these gladiators of the gridiron, where outcomes become not just victories, but legend. These games are the Great American Rivalry Series. On a cold December day in 1905, New Jersey and Pennsylvania clashed in what has become one of the oldest cross-border conflicts in the nation. Now playing on Thanksgiving Day, the Peaburg-Easton matchup brings together families, fans, and alums alike.
The more this game continues on, as you look around, you can see all the parents, grandparents, and the grandkids now coming around.
And it's all about the kids on the field, also the cheerleaders, the band, and all the people that come back at Thanksgiving time to be a part of this.
We got here at 6 a.m. this morning, continued from last night, setting up, getting everything ready to go. Been coming here 35 years since I was a kid growing up. My dad taught here in school, so.
A guy just came to me and said this is going to be his 61st straight game. He's never missed a game in 61 years, so I think that's pretty awesome.
It's not just a game for the kids today, it's a game for the grandparents and everyone else who has played in it.
Some people make their name for the rest of their life in this game, so it's kind of neat what goes on, for sure.
Books, movies, and even television shows can't begin to portray the tradition represented by this original Friday Night Lights showdown. As the sun sets, the lights shine down on the Odessa-Permian-Midland League clash, adding to the lore that is West Texas football.
There's excitement in the air like there is with Friday Night Football, especially out here in West Texas. And the Odessa-Permian football game, or any Odessa-Permian football game, is phenomenal.
When you're playing against Lee, you have to come out and be ready to knock heads.
Well, this is a big game for us every year.
We've been kind of involved with these two teams since the 80s.
What it means to be a Permian cheerleader is that you get mojo in your life every day, and it's kind of an indescribable thing.
We were willing to face anybody at any time. I think that, this mojo is back in the city.
Here we are once again at the end of an annual classic here in Odessa. But Permian came on strong in the second half and closed the deal on one of the classics in the Great American Rivalry Series.
Family, friends, and alumni from across the country gather to tailgate for the largest regular season rivalry game in the country. With the traditional shillelagh firmly in the hands of the winning team, the more than 35,000 fans exit the stadium, and plans are already underway for next year.
It's been going on since the 50s, and both schools have great traditions in football. The two school communities, as you can see by the crowd, they mark this game on their calendars and they come out here, and it's just a great opportunity for all of us to get together. And
they got to remember that even though it is a huge rivalry and there's going to be a lot of people here, it's still football.
Just beyond the beaches and palm trees, the bright lights shine down on a carpet of green. And if you stop to listen, you'll hear the sounds of a pounding drum line, welcoming the soldiers of the Soul Bowl to another battle in Broward. A performance of historical proportions is sure to ensue.
It's always this big a game. Yeah, you can expect this stadium to be full in about an hour.
This is a big game. We have fun. The kids have fun. This is the biggest game, the Soul Bowl. It has been like that ever since I was a little girl. I mean, my uncle played for Ely, my brother played for Ely, so this is like a family event.
Dating back to the 19th century, Baltimore Poly versus Baltimore City has been a unifying and tradition-laden test for supremacy. With more foreshadowing than a Hollywood script, this rivalry, played in Raven Stadium, often produces players that will play there again someday.
I'm a 1977 graduate of the Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. My experience in high school at Poly prepared me for the rest of my life. Don't leave anything on the field. When you walk away from this ball game, you say to yourself, I gave it all I had.
It was kind of like
the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys, but it was a local event and it was big time in this area. And just to be able to play on Thanksgiving, be one of the featured games that was shown throughout the city, it always meant a little more. And the fact that we played City College made it that much more important.
This is a character builder for the players on these teams. They may not know it right now, but here you learn how to win. You learn how to lose. You learn how to conduct yourself with character and dignity. It's a season maker for the team. We look forward to it for the whole year. And like I said, remember it for your whole life.
The first time these two schools met, there were no helmets, no pads, just football. With the NFL Football Hall of Fame just footsteps away, the tradition represented by the annual clash between Massillon and McKinley has few rivals in the state of Ohio, as these classic warriors fight for the right to own the day.
I remember as a small kid growing up, my main ambition was to play for the Massillon Tigers, and it really had an impact just watching those guys ahead of me lay the foundation for our great tradition. Still a great series.
As a fan of either of these two teams, you have a choice to make. You can wait to see one of them compete in the state championship game, or you can go to one of the best rivalries in the nation and see them both every year. This is the Backyard Bowl between Jenks and Union.
Well, we're 11 miles apart. We're the second and third largest schools in the state of Oklahoma.
It's not hard to, play at your best when, 35,000 people are watching you screaming. If it was a 30-point game right now, it wouldn't be over. I've seen so many wild things, and that's probably why it's a great rivalry, is that it's never over until the last snap.
Combining for more than 24 state championships, the matchup between Burns and Gaffney pits two of South Carolina's biggest powerhouse programs on a playing field that is likely to give fans a preview of some of the state's best talent, surrounded by rich tradition and just good football.
We've been rivals, for years now, and you hate Gaffney. I mean, it just comes with it. Whenever you're in the Burns family, it just comes along with it. And whenever you play the game, they aren't fans of you either. So it just puts everything else into the game.
This game is it's outstanding. You gotta come here and watch it. I mean, it's prime time.
There's the best, and then there's the rest. And out west, when Mission Viejo and De La Salle line up, fans are assured of some of the best high school football around. But when they meet on a Friday night, it's all about that game and winning.
Well, I know Coach has a great program and he likes to play against the greatest programs. And De La Salle is a class act from Northern California. We play the tough teams down here, and I know he wanted to play some of the tougher teams throughout the great state of California, and he got one in De La Salle.
We come out, we play our hardest, and we're always proud to play for our school, for our community, and especially for our coaches.
In 1893, the first fans of the old rivalry, as it is known, tied up their horses outside rows of wooden bleachers to watch the boys from Male and Manual. This battle for the barrel predates electricity in Kentucky and epitomizes all the things envisioned as the originating game of the Great American Rivalry Series a decade ago.
The crowds are the biggest, the passions are the greatest. That's where you ought to be.
Everybody came to this game, whether you're a Male or a Manual fan, everybody came out to this game. It was played at the fairgrounds, which is really equivalent to this arena right here today, and it was great.
It's just a terrific rivalry. The students really excited about it.
And if you walk our halls, you'll see down our Male Manual Hall all the past history of this game. We take pride that we've been playing since 1893. And, our goal is to make sure that this game remains the sacred thing it is.
Well, it means everything. If you can't get excited about Male Manual Week, there's something wrong with you. We just have activities all week long for Male Manual Week, and we're excited to be out here at Papa John's Stadium playing the game. We got a great game today, and it's just exciting for the kids.
I grew up with the rivalry. My dad is a Manual person. He went to the high school in the 1920s. I went to Manual, followed my dad, and my dad started bringing me to the games in 1956. My dad is in the Hall of Fame at Manual. He went to 72 consecutive Male Manual football games.
The Male Manual rivalry is such a great rivalry. It goes back so far, and I am just so proud to be a part of it.
But when it comes time to put the helmets on Friday nights, we hate each other for about 48 minutes.
These things right here, they don't give them away. They don't give them away. We thank you for what you're doing for our country.
One thing remains unchanged: the traditions as the greatest American rivalries.
In Louisville, Kentucky. Hello, everyone. Robert Williamson along with Gary Ball as we get set for the Great American Rivalry Series. And it is indeed the old rivalry. Mel taking on Manual. Gary, this is one of the rivalries that everybody else envies.
Yeah, they envy it because it's been going on since 1893. Think about that, Robert. That's 30 years after the Civil War. That's a long time. And they settled the H and the M with this football game. That's why Male has to have H on their helmets and DuPont Manual gets an M on it. It will settle right here on this football field.
You mentioned the fact that it's been in existence 29. Fact, will the weather have?
Well, there are teams that like to pass the ball a lot more than usual. Quarterback, so game, Male is number. Standing.
DuPont Manual, something.
Exactly, they've got in Trinity. Male beats St. My opinion.
By buying warm red sweatshirts, pants, scarves, and lots more, come to the concession area under the Manual side of the bleachers.
At it. They had a Team Trinity a couple years ago, 20-7 defense. So can Manual handle that defense? I think they can. They great run. Particularly the Nero, outstanding. So I look for it to be a wide open.
DuPont Manual and Mel. The Great American Rivalry is right here in Louisville, Kentucky. We are back after a commercial break. It's brought to you by the United States Army.
Today's game is presented by the iHelp Loan Program from SLFC.
During today's game, we're going to give you the tools to help you find your college, scholarships, and grants that you can have just for applying.
Enjoy the game, and we'll see you later on to put your game plan in motion.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
The Great American Rivalry Series, it is here in Louisville, Kentucky. What a magical night. for football. We send it back down to the sidelines. Gary Ball has a special guest.
Fry-Rear. Got it. Bill Fry-Rear. Bill Fry-Rear.
Well, they are getting set for, obviously, a conversation about football here as Male takes on Manual. It is a ball game that's been around since 1893. We think we've got our link, and back down to Gary.
Welcome back to the Great American Rivalry Series. Gary Ball, I'm joined by Bill Fry-Rear. He is a Louisville Male grad. And Bill, tell us about your officiating. I know that really sublime.
Well, I tell you, years worked this game because, believe it, a good football associated with Male, and even though I was referee in this area, they wouldn't let me work. But finally, on the last Thanksgiving Day, they let me referee it. Now, guess who won the ball game? Manual. Manual beat Male 6-0. But when you referee football, you know it's the but I have some of the greatest memories of my whole life about this game. Now, my understanding is that this is the oldest continuous rivalry in the United States. Started in 1893, and the last numbers I got, and I looked this up a few days ago, but Male High has won like 81 of the games, and Manual has won 40. I was reading too, and I didn't know this till fairly recently, but in the early 1900s, they played 3 times a year, and they couldn't call themselves champions until they had one team won 2 of the 3. But they played 3 times a year.
And Bill's in the Hall of Fame. What's it like for a Hall of Famer to come back to these big battles between Manual and Manual?
Oh, it just brings back so many great memories. This stadium at one time was a horse, and I know that I read that 1 week before Pearl Harbor was bombed by the Japanese, that they had 20,000 people here on Thanksgiving Day for the Male Manual game. It just brings back wonderful memories for me. My mother and my father were both raised hills of Kentucky, and they knew very little about football, but they came to see me play every game that I played, and especially when we played here. It just brings back wonderful memories. And if you talk to any of the guys around Louisville that are about my age, and the only thing that was bigger than the Male Manual football game was the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, they just had, they had wonderful crowds out here, and the ladies all wore their big mums, and it was a wonderful thing. But it's it tickles me to be here to do this.
Bill, we are tickled that you joined us here. Thank you for joining us, Bill Fry-Rear.
Thank you very much for having me.
That's the Great American Rivalry Series. We'll come back with Christy Thomas, the Great American Rivalry Series, brought to you by the United States Army.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
42 degrees, clear skies, perfect football weather. Male taking on DuPont Manual as we send it to the sidelines for a conversation. Hey, we are fair and balanced here. Male previously, and we've got DuPont Manual next as Gary has made his way into the box. In just a few moments, we will talk about some of the keys to the game. But before we do that, we need to do this and send it down to the sidelines as Christy Thomas has a very special guest, Wes Jackson.
You're right, guys. I do have a very special guest. That's because it's the 25th anniversary of the 1988 Manual team that went 12-1. Their only loss coming in the state championship game. A new Hall of Fame inductee into the Manual Athletics Hall of Fame was one of the stars of that team. Mr. Wes Jackson, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on a wonderful honor.
Oh, thank you. I was really honored to be inducted in Manual's Hall of Fame.
Let's catch everybody up on what you're doing these days and where you are.
Oh, great. Well, now I'm the publisher of the Louisville Courier-Journal, actually one, other than Manual High School, one of the oldest institutions here in the market. So after almost 20 years away from Louisville, it's been great to be back home and to get an opportunity to come out with great rivalry games.
Gotta love being in an environment like this, and of course you played in this environment, so talk about that 1988 team and what made that team so special.
Well, it was a truly special team. My freshman year when I came in to Manual, that team was 0-10, and we were rebuilding all the way up into actually 13-1, and we beat Male twice in the same season, and that was the only year at this rivalry game that both teams came in undefeated and untied. And we beat Male 28-0, and that felt pretty good.
An absolutely unbelievable environment when you think about the kids and the way the kids are coming out to support this team. Was it like that when you played?
Oh, it was pretty rowdy when we played. Now, we played at the second time at the fairgrounds at the time, but I still hear some of the old chants that seem to have survived all the way through 25 years.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what your memories are, particularly of this rivalry game and the fact that this has been played for so many years, and the fact that it is such a big deal in this city. Talk a little bit about what that really meant to you to be able to be a part of a game like this.
Well, I think there's so much history around the rivalry, and that's what makes it special. Going back, I guess, 110, 115 years at the stage, and so it's a real honor to get a chance to play and be a part of that history, and to come out on the winning end of the rivalry. I mean, that's pretty special. And for our 88 team, we hadn't beat Male until our senior year, so we did it twice, and that made it great.
So, and great to see some of those guys back here, right? Just to be able to spend some time with them.
It was. We'll talk in a minute, but I played for University of Kentucky, so there were 4 guys off the Male team that I ended up being teammates with, but we just had a chance to get together with old teammates before the game, and it was phenomenal to see some of the guys.
Well, that's perfect. So let's talk a little bit about that. Then you went on to have a great career at the University of Kentucky. So just talk about being able to make that transition from high school to college and play at such a high level.
Well, it's a big transition, as you know. I mean, you go from superstar in one arena, and you're surrounded by superstars. But I had a great time at the University of Kentucky, and so Jerry Clayborn's last recruiting class, 4 years with Bill Curry, and we finished with the Peach Bowl my senior year there. And what was terrific, like I said, 4 guys off of Male's team, and we were all teammates there at the University of Kentucky. So we had a lot to rib each other about, and it's certainly helpful for me to beat them twice, being the only guy from Manual there.
Absolutely. You need bragging rights these days, right? That's how that works.
That's right. You got to be armed with some wins.
That's right. Well, congratulations to you, and congratulations to that 1988 team, and we look forward to seeing you guys at halftime.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
You guys are watching the Great American Rivalry Series, brought to you by the United States Army.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Male versus DuPont Manual. Gary, what are the keys to the game as we look and the captains for both squads are meeting in midfield for the coin toss?
I think Mike Nero needs to have a big game for Manual. He's their go-to guy. Averages about, Robert, 25 rushes a game. He's a game breaker. I think Motley, the quarterback, must continue with his hot hand. He has really had a great touch on the ball. Had 400-plus yards against X, 262 against Trinity. I think those are the keys for their offense, and I think Tyron Horton needs to have a big game. They call him the sack master because he has 9 sacks and 9 quarterback hurries. He will be in the backfield of Male all night. I think those are the keys for DuPont Manual. And I think when you look at Louisville Male, their offensive line must continue their dominance. Robert, they've got 2 guys over 300 pounds, one 370, one 330. They're big, they're strong, they're fast. I think Keon Wakefield must continue his big play, the great receiver. He had 2 big third down catches in the St. X and Trinity games. Well, Hilton needs to continue that tonight. And Mattingly, the quarterback, needs to continue his great play as well.
Well, this is dubbed the old rivalry. It is the longest continuous rivalry in the state of Kentucky and west of the Appalachians. So obviously it's been one of those series where it doesn't matter whether you have a win-loss record of 0-8 coming in or 8-0, it is going to be a ball game. But tonight you've got a 6-2 DuPont Manual squad and an unbeaten Male team.
And look how DuPont Manual lost those 2 games that you talked about. 38-30 to Trinity, a game they felt like they should have won. They had St. X beaten. The St. X scores on the last play of the game. Give Walker credit for X. He made a great play, and then they kick the extra point. They lose 24-23. So it's a team that very easily could be coming into this game just like the Louisville Male at 8-0 when you talk about Manual.
Captains beginning to meet there in midfield. Let's talk about the coin toss. Who does what? If Manual wins it, what do they do? If Male wins it, what do you expect?
If I'm Manual, it's a rivalry game, as you just referenced, the oldest rivalry in Kentucky, one of the oldest in the United States of America. I take the football. I take the ball.
Offensive firepower from both, so you want to exhibit that regardless.
Take the ball.
Well, they're meeting in midfield, and we're about to get the coin toss. By the way, the United States Army is there as well. Thank you very much to the United States Army for helping make coverage possible tonight, as well as iHigh Marketing. Not only those guys and ladies do an exceptional job in protecting the country, but tonight they're making this rivalry a possibility coverage-wise on the Great American Rivalry Series. Well, the captains meeting. Home field advantage, do you have it in a series like this?
Well, this Manual Stadium has so much history. It's an old stadium, seats about 8,000. I think you definitely have an advantage if you're Manual. We saw that for Male a few years ago when they played in Male Stadium, where they had a big advantage there. But you look at Dr. Lucas, the coach of Manual. He's never lost to Male. In his 4th year, he's never lost to Louisville Male. So he's knocking on wood, saying, "Hey, I better knock on some wood because I've never lost to Louisville Male."
Male has won the coin toss, and we're about to see whether they have opted to put that offense on the field first or that defense on the field first. Gary, you hit it right on the head, and they want that offense.
So you got Davis Mattingly, you got Ellis Kane, the great back, you've got Keon Wakefield. I tell you, Robert, you're going to love this Wakefield kid. Kentucky's already offered. He went to their camp back in the summer and just lit it up. And the Kentucky coaches say, "Hey, we know you're a sophomore. We want you. We're offering you right now. Come to the University of Kentucky and play in the Southeastern Conference." His older brother is a preferred walk-on at Kentucky right now, so he's already on the team. So there's a good bet that Keon could end up a Wildcat.
It is going to be a dandy. Male versus DuPont Manual. The kickoff coming up in moments. This is the Great American Rivalry Series. It is brought to you by the United States Army.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Sophomore Chris Roussel has it teed up at the 40-yard line, back deep to receive. Mark Northington and Avery Haynes as we get ready to renew once again, many times since 1893, the rivalry between DuPont Manual and Mel. This Louisville Classic underway, and the kick is grabbed at the 5-yard line by Northington. Out to the 25, got a seam, 30, 35, excellent field position for Mel to start this one near the 40.
Great blocking on that right side of the return team there for Male, too. Northington saw the seam there, really took off at about the 20. That's a great return by Northington up to the 40-yard line. That's where you want to start in a rivalry game in good field position like that.
40-yard line, the line of scrimmage. Bringing out the troops for the Male Bulldogs. It is Davis Mattingly, 6'3", 185-pound senior quarterback. Both of these squads led by seniors, so they've obviously got some experience and some wisdom at the QB slot. And they will immediately go upstairs with the grab made by Kane. And Kane dives to the 46. Gain of 5, near 6 on a first down pass play.
Howard made the stop. Not listening, wasn't given to us as a starter, but that was Tyrone Howard making the stop there for Manual's defense.
Well, if you can pick up 5, 6 yards every play, then you've got a pretty nice night.
And I like the call there, too. Mattingly sent Kane in motion, hit him with a nice little screen. There was a lot of room out there, but a good play by Howard there, Manual, to maybe blow up a play that could have been huge.
If you're trying to work out butterflies, though, aren't you wanting to stick it on the ground for a play or two? Not so for Male. As a matter of fact, they go upstairs again. It is incomplete. Looked like a miscommunication between he and Keon Wakefield. The 6'1", 165-pound wide receiver breaks to the inside when the pass went to the outside.
Well, what I noticed was the matchup there. Coach Lucas put his son, Justice Lucas, the senior, who'll probably play some, on Wakefield, saying, "You get him, son." And that was good coverage there. He threw it up just hoping Wakefield could make a play, but as you said, it was a poorly thrown ball there.
Any surprise, the two teams, they've got a balanced offense, don't get me wrong, but they've also got a very strong running game. Surprised that Mel's gone upstairs 2 plays in a row, and they have to on 3rd and 5.
Fired, baby. Keep firing it.
And they will indeed, as Mattingly drops back, waits, fires, has a target. The grab is made by Northington. He was inbounds inside the 30 to the 27-yard line.
Yeah, Northington, that's something he does so well. That is his 28th catch of the season out of the backfield. That's significant with 223 yards, a couple of touchdowns. So obviously he's a kid that catches more than he runs it out of the fullback spot.
Here's the impressive part of the previous play. Mattingly had Ryan West in his face. He waits till the last possible moment to throw to Northington. Here's your first run up the middle as Kane breaks it inside the 25 to the 22.
That was a nice play there, turned in by the linebacker, Overstreet. He goes 6 foot, 210 pounds. He's a senior, 72 tackles coming in. #1 tackler on the team. We're going to call his name a lot tonight.
2nd down and 5, football at the 22-yard line. Male, first offensive series of the ball game. And the handoff again broken to the outside by Kane. Kane dragged down, but not before he gets inside the red zone and very close to a first. Tyron Horton in on the stop.
Not only on the stop, he's a sack master, 6'3", 245-pound junior, will be highly recruited next year.
Third and very short. Do you just pick up the first, or do you think about trying something in the end zone?
Air it out, baby.
You and Eric Coryell must be very good friends as Kane has the first.
Move the chains, as they say. That was good work up front. And that male offensive line is huge. They're strong, led by Marcus Butler, the 370-pounder. Sparkman is the leader, though. He was a all-conference player as a sophomore at tackle. They moved him to center this year, and Coach Wolf says without question he's the leader of this offensive line, and he really moved the pile that time.
First down and 10, football on the 13-yard line. Again, the give to Kane. Kane just kind of tiptoes through the crimson and is down to near the 5-yard line. I don't know that those holes were created. I think they were just found by Kane as Bolden's in on the stop.
That was more like tiptoe through the tulips, wasn't it? But I like it. They were airing it out, and all of a sudden they're saying, let's ground it out, baby. Let's run the balls. I knocked the water over here. Sorry about that, but you can hear. I get excited up here. I'm like John Madden. I get worked up here, Robert. Sorry.
Well, it's just somebody below's got a concussion, I think. If we see a bottle coming back up, then we're going to be worried.
Well, it is the biggest rivalry in the state. We're just keeping them fired up down there.
11 grand expected here before the night is over. Kane stopped inside the 5, near the 3.
Well, look at, you see the rivalry come into force here. After that play, a couple manual players come up to the male players and said, don't bring that in here anymore. A little shoving going on. That's what this rivalry is all about. They do not like each other very much at all.
Nearing the 9-minute mark. As it is third down and short, let's see if Kane gets it again or Mattingly opts to go upstairs inside the 5-yard line. Fakes to Kane, pass complete into the end zone, touchdown for Northington.
Third touchdown. That's the thing about Mail. He has so many weapons, Mattingly does, that he can go to. We saw him use Northington there a couple of times on that series, and then he goes right back to him when they need the big touchdown.
Drive got started at the 40 after the nice return. Northington gets the final 3, but if you're starting your drive back, say maybe the 20, inside the 20, would we have the same type of drive from the standpoint of going to the air immediately and effectively?
That's exactly right. And not only was the touchdown catch made by Northington, remember, it's him who had the nice return up to the 40-yard line on that 60-yard drive.
Extra point try up off the toe of Jonah White. It is good. And it's Mail on top. We are inside 9 to play. Opening drive, a productive one for Mail. We're back after this. The Great American Rivalry Series brought to you by the United States Army.
Hey, Truck, if you want it, that play was 60 yards, 3 minutes, 4 seconds, and we'll get the number of plays for you here in a second.
8:56 left to play, and indeed, that was a lengthy drive of 60 yards. Of course, I say lengthy, it's lengthy compared to some, but it was a drive that really didn't consume a whole lot of time.
Didn't consume but 3 minutes and 4 seconds, and capped off on a nice touchdown pass from Davis Mattingly to Marquay Northington.
Chilly night here. Temperatures at game time in the upper 40s, expected to dip into the 30s before we wrap this one up.
9-play drive. That was a 9-play drive. Took 3 minutes and 4 seconds.
Most of it through the air. There were a few effective carries on the ground. Kick into the end zone, touchback, and DuPont Manual won't have 60 on their opening drive. They'll have to try to take it 80.
But they did exactly what they thought we thought they would do. They took the football, mailed it, said we want the ball, we want to get our offense out on the field. We just whipped up on Trinity last week. We got a good offense, and boy, I tell you what, you saw the diversity of that offense, as you said, Robert, mixing up the pass and the run there for Mail on that 60-yard drive.
We'll send it down to the sidelines. Christie.
Guys, Coach Chris Wolf telling us that Davis Mattingly is a typical All-American kid. Great GPA, does his job, he's coachable. But he also said that he got his starting shot whenever, as a freshman, the starting quarterback got hurt, so that's how he gets his start. So he comes in, he now becomes the number one becomes the number 2, and now they are best friends. So he talks about this kid has really worked hard to get into that starting position. He also says he has one of the most accurate deep balls he's ever seen in one of his quarterbacks. So a lot of potential for this kid. He's just a junior, get another year under his belt. He says that he's already getting a few looks, but not too many. He's under the radar. He's a quarterback that's very under the radar right now, but with an arm like that, you know this kid's going to get some attention his senior year.
Oh my, he was indeed impressive on that opening drive. And by the way, when you look to the other side of the pigskin, you got a guy that's pretty impressive as well, Mr. Mason Motley.
Yeah, he tried to find Nero, and he just gives it to him on the left side.
Handoff given to Nero, and Nero out to the 25, gain of 5. On that previous play, though, Nero didn't know it was coming.
Right, he wasn't looking for the football. You got to look for the football. He was running downfield, looking at the defender who was right. You got to look back for the football, and that's probably what Motley told him when he came back to the huddle. You know, when I'm throwing it to you down the middle, Michael, look for the football.
Motley's had some pretty impressive nights the last few weeks, though, hasn't he?
Oh, he had some super nights. He had 400 yards against X, 262 against Trinity. I'm not sure that's ever been done, over 400 yards that he had against St. X's defense.
Gain of 6 by Nero brings up a third down and manageable 4 at the 26-yard line. In motion is Eric Neiman. Hand off to Nero, and Mail has him wrapped up near the line of scrimmage, led by the charge of Ed Moore.
Boy, he is a stud. 6'2", 275. He is the force up there that Coach Wolf talks about. He said Ed Moore is the force, and we saw the big play there by big number 51, the force.
Obviously, if you compare opening drives, the advantage belongs to Manuel. They drove 60 yards, get 6 points out of a TD and the extra point try. But now you got the defense that stops Manuel. These early parts of the ball game, though, really no indication as to what the rest of the game will be like.
I thought the pass to Nero that we talked about was a big start there for Manuel. If Nero catches that pass, he's probably 40 up to the 40, 45-yard line, and he wasn't even looking for it. A bad punt.
It is shanked. Damian Smith, the 6'2 junior, gives Mail, again, excellent field position. Well, you got the number 1 team in the country, and you give them the football basically after the kick return, the ball at the 40. Now, after a poor punt, you've given them the football inside your territory, not the way that DuPont Manuel had hoped to start this one.
And not the way that Mail played offensively their first series, mixing up that pass with the run, went 60 yards, and now you let them start at your 45-yard line.
First down and 10 for Mattingly, who is back onto the turf just a few moments ago. Drove his squad 60 yards. Wakefield, the intended target, nope, out of bounds near the 24. Made the grab, but made it off the field of play.
But that's what makes Wakefield so good as a receiver. Did you see how he kind of stalled and waited on the football to get there? He knew that the quarterback had underthrown him a little bit, but he waited on the ball and made a nice catch, but the official says he was out of bounds.
Second down and 10. Davis Mattingly, 6'3", 185-pounder.
The backup as a freshman. He was the backup quarterback. Who else can you recall was a backup quarterback as a freshman? Turned out pretty good. Guy by the name of Brady?
Yeah, he's done fairly well throughout his career. Second down, 10. Pass is complete to Northington. And Northington battles his way inside the 40 to the 38, gain of 8. Tyler Martin Miles in on the stop.
But I tell you, it's become very clear and evident to us that he's going to be a big weapon out of the backfield. He already has the touchdown catch. We're talking about Marquay Northington, the senior fullback who has 27 catches coming in. He is a big weapon for this Mail offense.
Third down, 3. Twin receivers to this side, single to the opposite. It's the single to the opposite that gets the pass. Wakefield turns and goes inside the 30 to the 26. He will get the first. The sticks on the far sidelines will have to continue to move towards the end zone.
I tell you what, there we see the ability of Wakefield to spin and elude. He's made a couple of nice spin moves there, showing his ballet moves out there, and very effective moving the ball and the chains down to the 28-yard line.
Where it is first down and 10. Give goes to Kane, and Kane gets a yard, maybe 2 out of it. Ellis Kane, 5'10", 195-pound running back. In on the stop, Ryan West. West has already had himself a pretty nice night for DuPont Manual.
And something else has become evident, just like we talked about the receiver Northington, that D-line of Manual is pretty good. Whenever Mail has run up the middle, Manual has been very stiff up there.
Second down long. Very little gained on the previous play by Ellis Kane. 8-0 on the year. Mail, DuPont Manual, 6-2. Mattingly again going upstairs, fires towards the corner of the end zone. It is a touchdown. Northington's got a second TD on the night.
Now that was a well-thrown football by Davis Mattingly. He got it just over the defensive back, and Northington is such a weapon, as we talked about, has both touchdowns already here tonight in the first quarter for the Bulldogs of Louisville Mail.
If you are DuPont Manual, what do you do about something like that? Mattingly just threw the perfect pass into the corner of the end zone. If Northington doesn't make the grab, nobody does.
Of course, like we said, when you start at the 45-yard line of your opponent, like Mail did, you're in a great situation to have a touchdown pass like that.
60-yard drive, 45-yard drive, and capping off both is the extra point kick from Jonah White. 5 minutes, 38 remains in quarter one, and who knows what 2 through 4 will do, but it looks like stanza 1 dominated by Mail. We are back to the Great American Rivalry Series after this. It's brought to you by the United States Army.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Early 14-point lead for Mail. Mattingly with a couple of touchdown tosses, both to Northington. Mattingly has been impressive, hasn't missed often, and when he's been on, he has been on. Hit Northington to the corner of the end zone for the latest 6. This one will be returnable from inside the 5, out to the 20. The seam to the 25 and across the 25 to near the 26-yard line. The return has field position a little better, but not much for DuPont Manual. It was Jordan Gonzalez, the 6-foot junior, in on the return.
If he had not been tripped up at about the 20, he would have gone a long way. He was kind of ankle tripped there at the 20, but did have a nice return up to the 28-yard line, Gonzalez.
Well, earlier I was going to ask about butterflies. It seems like you ask butterfly questions in every big matchup. But the question is, if you're behind and getting behind with each drive of the opposition, Mail in this particular case, I would think that makes the butterfly stick around a little longer as the give goes to Nero.
Well, Nero is going to get fed here a lot. We said that as our keys to the game, that Nero has to get the football. He averages about 25 yards a carry. I think you're going to see a steady dose of Michael Nero because, for one thing, Manual sees that they're going to have trouble stopping the Mail offense. 2 series, 2 touchdowns. So they're going to feed Nero here and run some of this first quarter clock, which we still have, 5 minutes of first quarter action left.
Gain of a pair by Nero, 2nd down and 8.
As I say that, they air it out.
Motley to where no one is. Incomplete.
Motley and his receivers seem a little bit off sync right now to me, especially when you look back to the first play of the scrimmage for the offense of DuPont Manual when he threw over the middle to Michael Nero, who was wide open, but he wasn't looking for the football.
I want to remind you that tonight's battle between Manual and Mail has been designated as one of 85 featured games of the nationwide 2013 Great American Rivalry Series 10th anniversary, presented by the United States Army. It is a particularly special rivalry game due to the fact that Mail and Manual were the inspiration for the Great American Rivalry Series. There is a flag and the first one of the night.
Mail jumped off sides. That was a good job there by the quarterback, Mason Motley, to change his inflection there. You know, quarterbacks do that so well. Number 10 there, Motley, did that very effectively. And instead of 3rd and 8, it'll be a very workable margin of 3rd and about 3 now for the Crimson of DuPont Manual.
Well, Mel hasn't done much wrong in the early part of this ball game, but there's one little miscue. Okay, so I guess they're not perfect.
But they're really good.
Close.
That's why they're number 1 in the state in 6A.
Third down short. Football at the 36-yard line. Let's see if Motley goes upstairs, fakes to Nero. Pass is complete, or did it come out of a miss? You've got standing there indicating incomplete Marquise Evans, and Marquise would love to be an official, but he's not, and the grab is complete for the first.
Yeah, that was a super catch there by one of the backup tight ends for DuPont Manual, number 84 there, with a nice catch. And that, it looks like, is that Eric Newman there? Nice catch by Eric.
Nero brings it up the middle. It is a foot race, and Nero apparently will win it. Touchdown. DuPont Manual, a 54-yard touchdown run.
All set up by the big third down catch by Newman. He comes up with a clutch third down catch. They feed the Nero machine. He goes up the middle. He's gone. I tell you, when he gets into the secondary, Robert, nobody's going to catch him. We saw that on that play.
You're playing the number 1 team in the state. How do you get past that line of scrimmage and break it the additional 50 yards?
And down 14-0, that run there by Nero, we're taking a look at on the replay. That is significant because that gets you right back in the ball game. Because if you give Male the ball back and they go up 21-0, it's going to be hard to come back. You're right back in it now.
Extra point try, it is no good. Wobbles a bit and goes off to the side for Eric Neiman. But Manual's on the board, 14-6, Male leads it. We are back with the Great American Rivalry Series. After this, it's brought to you by High Marketing and the United States Army. DuPont Manual on the board. 3 scores in the first. 2 belong to Male. And DuPont Manual with 1, 4:27 left to play here in the first. Is it way too early to worry about a missed extra point?
Well, that's what cost them the St. X game, DuPont Manual, last week. They had St. X beat, missed the extra point. St. X scores on the last play of the game. By the way, that was a 62-yard run there on the outstanding run by Michael Nero.
Picked up by Northington. To the 20, sees a little seam, then breaks it to the outside. He's got the 40 in sight, and, well, that appears to be where Northington just is determined to bring it to.
Yeah, it's like Forrest Gump. It's like there's a stop sign there on the 40 for Northington. He's so good, and that's twice he's returned it up to the 40-yard line. But you got to love it because the young man is such a good football player. Has both touchdown catches tonight for Louisville Male.
Field position obviously weighs in favor of Male. They started at the 40, at the DuPont Manual 45, and now back at their own 40 again.
And let's see what the quarterback does here, because you and I both have been so impressed with Mattingly. 6'3" junior. As we said, the backup quarterback is a freshman. He's a 3.8 student. He's 6 for 8 right now for 94 yards.
First down and 10 Male. Let's see how they respond to the DuPont Manual score. Northington in motion, and it is Northington who gets the football. Across the 40 to the 41.
And
nice defensive play.
Nice play there by Howard.
Gain of a yard. There have not been many 1-yard pass plays from Mattingly. It was Tyler Martin Miles again in on the stop.
But they love to feed it to Northington out there in the open field, and I like that. I tell you why, because when you got a kid that's got the moves he's got, you get him in the open field, good things are going to happen, and they've been happening.
Mattingly fakes the pass to Northington, hands off up the middle to Kane, and Kane stopped by Tyron Horton. And this does not look like the same Crimson team we saw on the first Male drives.
Isn't it amazing what a 62-yard touchdown run would do for your defense when they come out on the field saying, hey, offense just picked us up, guys. And when you got a player of the category of Tyron Horton, he's going to make things happen.
Third down, 10. King goes in motion. Mattingly got a receiver open, but overthrows Northington.
And he also stepped out of bounds. That's what the Manual sideline was saying. I was looking right down below us here in the press box. He stepped out of bounds, so had he even caught that ball, I don't think it would have counted. I think the side judge was right there saying, you went out of bounds, young man.
Well, that may explain why Ryan West kind of held up.
Why not?
He saw him walk out of bounds.
It's a waste of energy.
That's right. Save it. Might need it later. Antonio Hassel back to receive the punt. Mattingly handling the kicking chores as well at his 26. It is Hassel who is at his 26 as well. Opposite sides of the field. Fair catch made at the 32, and DuPont Manual will try to tie this one up with this drive.
That's a play there by Hassel. Goes unnoticed in the statistical book. A lot of guys will let that ball go. You're another 15, 20 yards back downfield. He came up, he called the fair catch, made a nice. Instead, you're working at a very good position at the 33-yard line instead of possibly being backed up to the 15 or 20.
First down 10, football on the 33, 3:04 to go in the first. Mason Motley, senior quarterback, 185-pounder in the I formation. Motley and Nero communicating. One or the other, not quite sure which play has been called. Nero churns his way to the 35, picks up a pair.
Number 73, Paul Blinko.
Paul Blinko in on the stop.
He's only a sophomore, Robert, 265 pounds. Paul Blinko the third, they really like him. They think by the time he's out of here in a couple years, he will be a big-time recruit because of his size, and you saw right there he can really get to the football.
Second down, we'll call it 7. Nero again. Here's his number called and makes his way to the 40. Pick up another 3. It will bring up a third down and 3. Stephen Miller in on the stop.
Miller did a nice job getting to that football. Here's the thing. If you're Male, you just saw Nero go 62 yards, so you're really going to key on him. But I'm telling you right now, this Jordan White, this fullback, he's the John Connor of high school football. He will flat destroy somebody out there. Watch him. I mean, that kid can block.
Third down 3. Drive started at the 32. We are in stanza 1 as the pass is complete to Jake Rist.
Rist came in 20 catches, 349 yards. You know what that tells me? You got 349 yards and 20, you're a big play guy. And Rist comes up with a big third down catch for Manual.
Third down conversion keeps the drive alive. Again, the I formation for Motley and company. And it's Nero again. Hearing his number called, makes his way to midfield. Blinko again on the stop.
Oh, he not only stopped, hit him in the backfield. I mean, he almost took the handoff. Blinko said, you giving me the ball, you're giving it to 27. You know, that's a great play there by Blinko the third. I tell you what, though, I really think Motley has settled into a nice game, throwing some nice balls right now back there at quarterback.
Second down to 9, football just inside Male territory. There is a bullet right in the middle of coverage. Flag comes in, and it just might be pass interference. Jake Rist said, listen, I had a lot of white jerseys all over me, including that of DeAndre Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman was there, and Coleman had his back to the play, but he was pulling on the receiver before the ball got there, so that's going to be but I tell you what, another ball. Did you see the ball that Mason Motley threw in there? I mean, talk about threading a needle. There were literally 2 defenders there for Male, and he had to thread it in. You know, that ball normally is going to be picked off. Of course, it's a good thing if you're a DuPont Manual fan that the flag was thrown.
Second down to 9, football just.
Again, a look at the bullet. Boy, that he threw that ball. I mean, there just wasn't much of a window to squeeze that ball into.
Marquez Evans was back there on coverage. We mentioned Coleman. That Evans was the other one back there. So you had 2 double coverage there for the Bulldogs.
First down 10 at the 35. Nero inside the 35 to the 31. Pick up a 4. And more in on the stop.
And Evans was in there as well, Marcus Davis. Good effort there by the offensive line. You know, we talked about Male's offensive line early in the game when Northington caught the 2 early touchdown passes. But this offensive line for DuPont Manual really settling into a groove right now.
Second down 7. Motley. Pass is incomplete. And again, looked like maybe a little miscommunication between quarterback and receiver.
Well, I think Jake Rist ran the wrong route there. Rist was cutting back inside, and it looked like Motley was throwing it on the outside shoulder. So I think that was either the receiver ran the wrong pattern or Motley was throwing it to the wrong shoulder. Not sure that's something they'll talk about back in the huddle. But I tell you what, this DuPont Manual team's showing me a lot here. Down 14-0. They battled back. Nero got the long 62-yard run, and they've got a third down at the 32-yard line of Mayo right now, battling to tie it up.
Last third down, they converted. That was a little shorter third down, third and 3.
Rist caught it, didn't he?
3rd and 7, yes. Motley's got all day, and he's got a target wide open. Grab made over on the far sidelines by Eric Neiman. That will be a first down, and again, those third down conversions reaping dividends for DuPont Manual.
And this is a Manual team. Remember, under Dr. Lucas, they don't even have their primary target. William Blackford, the top receiver, has a collarbone issue, not even playing tonight. That young man has almost 400 yards receiving, so Newman and guys like that are picking it up tonight.
First down and 10. Just a few yards shy of the red zone as the clock indicates a half-minute left in the first. And the handoff to the fullback, Kaiser, who makes his way to near the 20. Let's see if that will be the last play of the first. Gain of a couple of yards, second down and 8. And that will do it for stanza number 1. It has been an exciting 12 minutes of football. 14-6. Mel's got the lead, but DuPont Manual's on the move when we come back. This is the Great American Rivalry Series. It is brought to you by the United States Army.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Well, we are ready for the second 12-minute stanza. And if DuPont Manual brings this one into the end zone, it in essence means that 14-point lead meant nothing.
Michael Nero, by the way, in that first quarter, 10 carries, 77 yards. Of course, it doesn't hurt when you have a 62-yard TD,
That's
John.
true. Motley. What a pass into the end zone. Touchdown. Jake Rist.
That's Rist's second touchdown catch. What a ball thrown by Motley. Motley waited, and Rist took it up. You know, can you tell they're familiar with the hill there here at the stadium? Because Rist took it, ran right up the hill. I thought for a minute he's going to go out and sell popcorn or something. But he got the touchdown catch. Well, we got ourselves a dandy now.
These two quarterbacks, Mattingly and Motley.
For real.
Impressive. What a strike, Motley to Rist. Extra point try up. And this one is through the uprights. It is a 1-point ball game, 7 seconds into quarter number 2. It is a 14-13 Male lead, and DuPont Manual needed that drive.
Well, it was a 9-play drive that covered 67 yards, and they did it in just 3 minutes, 11 seconds, much like that first offensive series for Mayo when they went in about 3 minutes and 4 seconds and scored on the opening drive. At the beginning of this game, it was all Mayo, dominating, 14-0, but it's like when Nero had that long run, something clicked on the Manual sideline, and Dr. Lucas told his defense, guys, ratchet it up a little bit, okay? This is the rivalry game, baby.
And they've ratcheted up. 7 seconds into quarter number 2. It's a 14-13 1-point ball game. Male as DuPont Manual gets prepared to boot it away. Series started in 1893. By the way, Male has been around since 1856.
That's Civil War time.
pre-Civil War thing.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Abraham Lincoln, who, by the way, born in the state of Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
He wasn't even president when this school came into existence.
Now, I can't even fathom that.
Northington will get another try. This one at the 10.
See if he gets beyond the 40.
Yeah. To the 30 and to the 31-yard line. But again, not bad field position for Male. They've started drives at 40, 40, 45 of DuPont Manual, and now this one at the 31.
Back to your point about both quarterbacks, Motley and Mattingly. Legit, they both throw good balls, but you know what? They've got playmakers who throw the ball too. I mean, we've seen it in Northington. We've seen it on both sides. Wakefield. Also, we saw the great catch there by Jake Rist. Rist has a couple of nice catches in this game.
Excellent point. Got to have somebody on the opposite end. First down and 10. Male's 14-point lead has evaporated. Now just one as the give goes to Kane. Kane across the 35, churns his way to probably a first down. It will depend on the spot. It looks like it's 11 yards now on the Kane carry. So it is first down and 10 as again Martin Miles is in on the stop.
I say Bolden helped out as well, but you're right. I saw a number 2 getting up off that pile, but you know, we're seeing now Male take a page out of the manual. Okay, you're going to feed Nero, we're going to feed Ellis Kane, see what he can do here. That's a good strategy there by Coach Wolf, the former Highland standout.
Mattingly with a pass to Northington. Northington, well, his forward progress just stopped. Hit a brick wall at the 46.
It stopped because Avery Haynes, his own player, was down on the ground, and as he got up there, it's like he fell over top of his own player, Haynes. And I was thinking, if you haven't touched yet, you're still in play if a knee hasn't touched, but obviously he had touched.
Gain of 4 on the pass play, second down and 6. Up the middle of the carry. Needed 6, got 3, did Kane. Quickly to the line of scrimmage goes Mattingly. Mattingly, who's been so effective through the air, only putting it upstairs once on that short pass to Northington on this drive. 3rd and 3. Fires to Northington, can't make the grab on the left shoulder.
Yeah, that was thrown out of bounds there to Northington, and good pressure being put on. And here comes a late flag. We're going to have unsportsmanlike, late flag coming in, and they may call this against Manual. And Coach Lucas is letting his player have it on the sideline there coming off.
Well, when you've just had a pass play that more than likely will put the football back into your hands via a punt, you don't want something that leaves it in Male's hands if you're Manual.
And it all came after the play. The pass is incomplete, so it all came after the play. And you're right, that's just silliness, and that's what Coach Lucas was letting this player know on the sideline. We don't need it unsportsmanlike after we're going to get the football back.
Let's see how big this turns out. If you stop them on the next 3 consecutive plays and they punt, okay, no damage done. But look at this mark-off. It puts you deep inside DuPont Manual territory at the 35-yard line.
And Male is too talented of a team to do that. I mean, you stop them, they're going to punt to you, even though they're going to back you up. They're just too talented to give the ball back first down on a unsportsmanlike at the 35 of DuPont Manual.
Mattingly looking at a 1st and 10. Fakes to Kane, pumps, then fires on the short pass. Wasn't his primary target, but does complete the pass to Avery Haynes.
Yeah, Haynes, a senior. He came in with 16 catches for over 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns for Male. But that's just a big break there for Louisville Male, because it looked like Manual was going to get the ball back, a chance to take possibly their first lead of the football game. Instead, you give it right back to Male on an unsportsmanlike.
Inside 10 minutes to play in half number 1. Northington, the guy in motion, as Mattingly looks at a 2nd and 8. The pass goes to Northington. Able to sidestep one member of that Crimson defense and then fights his way inside the 30 to the 28. Damian Smith in on the stop.
Smith, 6'2", 225, a junior, came in with 46 tackles, does have a sack, and I tell you what, but Northington is a big weapon there coming out of that backfield.
I want to say thanks to Wave 3 News, your home for the biggest events in 2014, the Winter Olympics, Thunder over Louisville, and so much more. The Kentucky Oaks, the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby with live coverage from Wave 3 News on your TV, your computer, and on your phone. Watch it all on Wave 3 News. Pass over the middle, and it is complete to Ethan Britt.
Both teams have a good number 7, don't they, Britt? And, of course, we already saw the outstanding touchdown catch by Jake Rist, who wears number 7 for Manual. But getting back to that penalty, you give them the ball back, and the good teams are going to make it hurt, and that's what the Bulldogs are trying to do here.
First down 10, just outside the red zone. Pass complete. Haynes. Oh, he's pounded. And DuPont Manual comes out with the football, but he was down. Tyler Martin Miles again on the stop.
Yeah, Martin Miles made a super play on that defensively, covering it up, and then the ball came out late, though, so they're going to say that he was already down by contact, so no fumble there.
Just inside the red zone at the 19.5, where it is second down and long. We'll call it 2nd and 9.
Yeah, I see the ball coming out late there clearly after he was already down by contact.
Fake the Kane, Mattingly. Pass is complete, and Britt's into the end zone, touchdown.
He's only a sophomore. That's getting back to that penalty. That's what Coach Lucas is going to tell his player on the sideline. We had the ball, we gave him the 15 yards, and a great team like Mayo is going to march it down and score, and they did.
3 touchdown strikes for Mattingly. And we've still got 8:15 left to play in the first half. Again, a look.
Oh, he throws a nice ball. Nice yak there, yards after catch by the sophomore there for the Bulldogs, Ethan Britt. By the way, Britt, a 4.0 student in the classroom.
Well, everybody came except the pigskin. It stayed.
Got to have the football.
That's right. If you're going to try to kick an extra point, kind of important.
Pretty important. Your snapper's got to get it back there, your long snapper.
Well, let's see what the infraction is.
We got to love this stadium here at DuPont Manual Memorial Stadium. Seats about 8,000 packed in here tonight for the big Mayo Manual game on this brisk October night.
It's got some character to it,
doesn't it?
Jonah White trying to make it a 21-13 game. Kick is up and good. And Mayo has given themselves a little bit of breathing room. Now no longer a 1 point, but it is an 8-point advantage. We're back after this. The Great American Rivalry Series is in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's brought to you by the United States Army. Mail on top. Let's send it down to the sidelines in just a few moments. Christie has got some information. Christie. And down to the sidelines, Christie.
Well, guys, this is a serious game for both of these teams, for both of these schools, and it's very serious for the students as well. Manual and Mayo both make a big deal out of this game. They have Mayo has an entire section. You can also see Manual has almost 2 sections of kids here. Section is absolute control. It is what you want to see in a high school environment just like this, and they do take it very seriously. They're having a great time, but I can tell you that Mayo actually has a coffin that was in their lobby at their school. So if you think they don't take this game seriously, you better think again. But the atmosphere down here is fantastic.
Thanks so much, Christie.
Was Count Dracula in there?
I don't know, could be.
It is Halloween.
Getting close. 1st and 10. Pass over the middle is caught. Motley. And a little extra activity after the fact as Cassell makes the grab. Gazelle just didn't want to go down.
No. So he's a senior, Sissel is. 6'3", 225, 5 touchdown catches coming tonight for Matthew.
Gain of 9 on the pass play, but the pass covered about 5 yards. Those 4 additional yards were extremely hard-earned and bruise-making, but Sissel able to get to the 38 where it is 2nd down and 1. Handoff goes to Nero. Huge hole! That is the same play that sprung Nero for 62 previously. He gets the first and the midfield on this one.
And Robert, you got to give credit where credit's due. Michael Burba, Jacob Key, George Daly, Hayden Vinegar, Austin Lotspeak, those guys. By the way, that big tackle, 79, making his first start tonight for DuPont Manual, and they're really doing a great job. The Hogs, I call them, up front.
7:16 left to play in the half, 21-13, but DuPont Manual trying to respond to the 7 put on the board just moments ago by Mail. Tied in motion, that is Neiman again. Handoff goes up the middle to Nero. Nero backs his way to the 48. And Mail thinks the ball came out. Let's see if it did. They say it did. Officials now agree.
That was just Nero trying to make something happen with second effort. I'm sure our guys in the truck will let us take a look at that again, but that was a second effort by Nero. The ball did come out of there, and here we go. We'll take a look at it, Robert. Here you see a little delayed play movement there. Left side lining up is Matthew Sissel. Motion man, and then there's Nero with the handoff as he's battling right there. See, he's just battling. And then the ball is stripped out of there right at the last moment, and Mail came up with it.
Ball was about a yard away from Nero before he hit the turf. So it is Mail that will try to take advantage of the game's first turnover. Nose of the pigskin lies on midfield. Inside 7 to play in the half. Give goes to Kane. And Kane stacked up after a gain of 1. A lot of red jerseys near Kane.
Yeah, that's the thing about you got to be really impressed with by this Crimson defense. They get a lot of guys to the football. And when you've got a player the caliber of Horton, and then you got Dorsey up there, and you got linebackers like Ryan West and Overstreet and Dyer and Damian Smith, you're pretty formidable defense, and that's what DuPont Manual is. Even though you look up, Mail, this number 1 ranked team, has 21 points already.
2nd down, 9. It is Northington in motion. Mattingly, give goes to Kane. Kane's got running room, and he loses the football. But it appears as though the Bulldogs may have gotten it back.
Yeah, it looks like they have it. I've got the glasses on it, and it looks like Mail's receiver there, Avery Haynes, was able to pounce back on the ball. But you talk about a fortuitous, is that the right word, fortuitous?
I'll go
something
with
like that. Fortuitous bounce there for Mail. The ball comes, as you see, shooting out of there, and looked like Haynes was able to pounce back on it.
Fortuitous. Is that
what I said?
I don't know. I'm going with it.
The thing about IHI is everything's on archive, so if you say it, it's going to be there for a while.
First down and 10, football at the 31. Northington taking the grab from Mattingly inside the 30 to the 28, pickup of 3. Again, Tyler Martin Miles in on the stop. Is anybody else getting the tackle?
He's very active, isn't he? 42 tackles. We'll look at the stats here. We got Gary here on the stats, but I tell you what, he's got to have at least 5 or 6 tackles already.
2nd down, we'll call it 6, football inside the 30. Mail has not had a bad starting position tonight as the pass is incomplete. Their worst field position of the night was the 31.
As Avery Haynes made his break there, it was actually a well-thrown ball by Mattingly. As Haynes cut back, the ball hit him on the right shoulder. Hit him on the shoulder, so you got to get your hands out there for a receiver and catch that football. Haynes probably would like to have that one back.
3rd down, 6. DuPont Manual fans on their feet wanting a stop. Coming out of the backfield is Kane, and Kane stopped inside the 25. Well, somebody besides Martin Miles in on the stop. Lucas gets the tackle there.
On the tackle for the Crimson.
Not enough for the first.
Wesley Overstreet.
Overstreet helped out as well, but Lucas made the initial hit there. So 4th down here for Mail. And, of course, you've got so many weapons, and you've got a great quarterback in Davis Mattingly.
4th down and 2 yards to go.
Officials timeout as we got a player down for DuPont Manual, and that's Justice Lucas. Might be cramping up, as that's just going to be a cramp as he talks to the trainers as they come out. Tremendous crowd in here tonight. DuPont Memorial Stadium over here right off of Burnett on the in Louisville. Some great high school football. We had the mythical national champion come out of this city just a year or two ago, Louisville Trinity. Trinity last year was a firepower, just unbelievable, with James Quick, who's playing at Louisville, Jason Hatcher, who's playing at Kentucky, Travis Wright. But I tell you what, when you look at DuPont Manual Male, there's a young man by the name of Michael Bush, okay, plays for the Chicago Bears. He played for Mayo. And then you look at DuPont Manual, Keenan Burton, who played for the Rams. He played at DuPont Manual. So some great alumni have come out of these two high schools, as you might well expect, with the quality of football they play here.
Timeout on the field with the injury. Let's take a timeout, too. The Great American Rivalry Series is brought to you by the United States Army.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
The injured Justice Lucas brought off the field. It is 4th down and 3. Mail will go for it at the 25. And Mattingly, here's confidence in your quarterback. Throwing on a 4th down. The pass is incomplete. Keon Wakefield arguing that he was interfered with.
You know, he might have had a pretty good argument. There looked to be some contact at about the 15-yard line. I tell you what, I'm not sure why he didn't go to Ethan Britt there, because he broke on the outside. He was wide open, and that seems to be a primary target. But we talked about Wakefield in the pregame as being one of the keys to the game, and Wakefield does have a catch or two tonight. But to me, the difference in this game so far has been Northington, out of the backfield.
Well, there is no Crimson happier than Nero, who fumbled the football and got the pigskin in the hands of Mail back at about midfield, so no damage is done by the turnover. And it's the Crimson with the football back at the 25-yard line. Motley with the give right back to Nero. Nero coughs it up on the last carry, and now he's got it back, carrying for a couple of yards, but there is a flag on the play.
But, you know, I like Dr. Lucas and what he did there. He said, okay, you fumbled the football. We got it back for you. Here you go, big fella. You know, you got a 62-yard touchdown. You brought us here to the promised land. So feed the big guy, and that's what Nero, when I say big guy, he's 200 pounds, but I'm telling you what, this kid work ethic is second to none, of course, Coach Lucas. That's going to be a 15-yard unsportsmanlike against Mayo, so that's really going to set DuPont Manual up in business all the way up to the 42-yard line. But back to Nero, he said he's all about the team. He said he just works his tail off, and he says, Coach, whatever you want me to do. He's not a kid that points to himself. So Coach Lucas, very high on Nero. He thinks he might be the best running back he's ever had.
Face masking the call.
That was flagrant, wasn't it? To be 15-yarder. That wasn't one of those excuse me face masks.
That's right.
That was, I want your mask and I'm going to pull you down.
From the 42, Motley. And a little too strong with the toss. Incomplete, intended for wrist.
Wrist already has a touchdown catch tonight. 21-13. A 4 of them blocked by the flag there, but 4:04 to go in the first half here at DuPont Manual. Louisville Mail, number 1 ranked team in the state, 8-0. There's a lot of questions going on right now. Who is number 1? Mail, Scott County out of Georgetown, both undefeated. And, of course, that all will be settled when the playoffs start in 2 weeks here in Kentucky.
2nd down and 10 after the Motley incompletion. High snap, Motley able to bring it down and almost picked off. Well, you had an almost bad snap that could have resulted in a fumble, almost had a pickoff by DB, and really it was the snap that threw everything off as Mike Malone almost took it down the sidelines for 6.
He's the smallest of the twins. His twin Malik is the biggest one at 207, but Malik and Mike twins, and well, that's a great play there by Malone, as you said, nearly picked that one off. But it all started with the high snap. You give credit where it's due to Motley, who pulled that snap down, but as he threw the ball, you could tell he really wasn't in rhythm. And then also Mike Malone said, "You're not in rhythm," stepped in, almost picked it off.
3rd down, 10 for Motley. Len Nero a little too much.
So you had Malone out there in coverage. You also had Coleman. There were 3 male Bulldogs out there, so even if Nero catches the ball, I'm not sure. He would have got some yardage, but I don't think he would have got the first down.
Zachary Smith back at his 25 to receive the kick of Damian Smith. Smith, one previous kick that he shanked off the side of his foot. So Smith trying to improve on his per punt average, and now you've got a flag. And I think he's counting players.
Yeah, you got too many guys, I think, on the field for Mail.
Got 12.
As Malone, I think, is going to have to get off. One of the Malones, there's 2 of them, they're twins.
Malone kind of backed up towards the sidelines as if to say, ref, I'm on the sidelines.
Yeah, I don't belong out here. I'm head to the sideline.
Yeah, there's 11 there.
And he wasn't even the one supposed to get off. It was Evans who was supposed to get off. But, you get the stop by Manuel after the fumble, and then your Manuel, you turn it right back to Louisville Mail. We're going to have a timeout on the field, Robert, with 3:55 to go in the first half.
And it's called by DuPont Manual. So we'll take a break too. The Great American Rivalry Series. It is brought to you by the United States Army.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Well, you get a 5-yard mark off for too many guys on the field. That convinces the Crimson to go for it on 4th and 5. The pass is complete inside the 40. Down to the 39-yard line goes Matthew Sissel.
Boy, he's a captain. He's outstanding. What a catch. And let's go down to Christy about the Twins. But Christy, that's a big-time play there.
No doubt, a big-time. Talking earlier about the Twins, Malik and Mike Malone. Coach Chris Wolf from Mail tells me that this team has really meshed together, and that's been what he can attribute the success to. And it started with great leadership in the offseason. They usually vote for captains each year. This year they did not do that. By default, it went to Malik and Mike Malone because they've stepped up, been leading this team on and off the field. And it started in the weight room in the offseason. They carried over into their preseason practice, and they became captains. So Chris Wolf tells me that they understand the process, they embrace it, and they are the epitome of what captains should be on this team. They are a big reason why this team has really meshed together and is having such success.
Thank you, Christian. It was a Malone that was in on the stop.
Right on cue, Christy. Right on cue. Malik Malone makes a tackle there. So there you go.
2nd down, 6, football on the 33-yard line. Inside 3 to play in the half. Motley flushed out of the pocket. He's got Nero open, but doesn't want Nero. He wants to run it for a first. Slides to the 26-yard line.
That's the first mistake I think I've seen Motley make tonight. What he should have done there, he had the marker in the sideline. He should have ran it to the marker, got the first down, because there was room to do that. He slid, did the old NFL slide there, which I hate anyway. But if he runs to the sideline and gets beyond the chain, he not only stops the clock, he gets the first down.
So he could have gone 2 for 2, but he goes 1 for 2.
I'm sorry, excuse me, I stand corrected. He did get the first down anyway.
But he didn't stop the clock.
He didn't stop the clock. But I think where he slid, he was short of the first down. I don't think that's a very good mark.
Hand off to Nero. Nero breaks it to the 20. Second down and short coming up.
Nero is a special player. Great balance. 187 carries, 1,166 yards, 17 touchdowns coming in. And he's back next year for this rivalry game. He's a junior. Second and short here for the Crimson of Dr. Oliver Lucas, who coached at Lexington Bryan Station before he came here, and also coached at the University of Colorado.
Stadium, which, by the way, seats 9,000. We've got about 11 here. Hand off to Nero. Sees a little seam. He is quick to the accelerator. And popped it to the 18. In on the stop, DeAndre Coleman.
Yeah, if Coleman doesn't have his speed, the corner there, Nero probably pops out outside, but that's so close the officials are going to have to measure for that first down. But this has turned into another classic. Christy and I did this game at Male a few years ago, and that was a classic. But I tell you what, these two teams offensively are about as good as any Male and Manual team I've ever seen, and I've covered high school football for a long time. I tell you what, even going back, Christy can remember Michael Bush when he was the superstar at Louisville Male, and Keenan Burton was a superstar at DuPont Manual. These offense, so many weapons, Robert. I mean, so many guys you could throw the ball to, so many guys you can hand it off to with Nero, and also, of course, Kane for Male. But what I'm impressed with are the receiving cores of these two football teams.
Stretching out the chains to see if Nero got the first, and Nero's there to be the first to say, I got the first.
He'll let you know. He'll run it for you, and then he'll let you know that the chains are being moved because I got the first down. And you know what that does? That fires up your crowd.
Indeed. Inside
Not that you need to fire up this crowd.
The old rivalry. 1893 it began. 1966 had the biggest crowd at 24,000.
And by the way, he just talking about that young man, he just went over 100 yards, 105 yards. So outstanding job there by Nero. He's over 100 yards.
Hand off to Nero. Nero tacking more onto the 105.
What I want to know, Robert and Christy Thomas, is if you score here in the last minute 16 in your DuPont Manual, do you want to go into the locker room down by 1, or do you want to go for 2 and go into the locker room tied? That's if you score here. I go for 2.
I'm just the play-by-play guy. You analyze it. You break it down for us.
I go for 2. Just like I've been said at the beginning of the game, I'm airing it out, baby. I'm throwing it. I'm firing that football.
You want more points.
That's right, baby. It's arena football breaking out here.
Second down, 6, football on the 13. Motley. Penalty flags. Incomplete. I don't know that it would have mattered.
Nice little push off there by Wrist in the end zone, too. Did you see that? Number 7, he's pushing off the Male defender, but, the flag had already been thrown. The damage was done anyway.
A little offensive pass interference, but as you mentioned, there were flags in the backfield, and this one was going to come back if it was complete.
Look at it. If you're wondering if you're keeping score at home, DuPont Manual does have 2 timeouts left here in these last 44 seconds.
There's the indication, the charge, the infraction.
We don't have the luxury of having the head referee mic'd to hear the calls, but they're talking to the Male captain, so obviously it's going to be against the team in red when they're talking to the captains of the team in that purple with the old orange. What do you call that? Old gold, I guess? Yeah, the old gold. That means it's against your opponent, and, of course, Male is going to take the penalty, move it back.
By the way, the Crimson has got the ability to poke it through the uprights on a field goal try from fairly long range.
Yeah, their kicker's outstanding. Soccer, all-state soccer player.
42-yard field goal, his longest of the season. Motley, incomplete pass, and there's a pass interference call.
Well, that started on that last play when Wrist and Tyrone Wilkerson were battling down there in the corner of the end zone, and Wrist pushed him off. Well, Wilkerson's coming back saying, wait a minute now. And he grabbed him a little bit on his pass pattern before he could break his pattern, and they did throw the flag. So that's a good call by the officials, who, by the way, I think are doing a great job in this game tonight. I used to umpire, so I give a lot of love to the officials. And when I umpire balls and strikes, I tell you, it's a tough job, Mr. Williamson. It's a tough job.
Well, I compare a referee to a church sound man. It doesn't matter how good you are, somebody complains about you.
That's right. The official is waving the flag off for some reason. He's waving the flag off, but they move. We're going to have a timeout is what it is. Timeout called by Male.
With 40 seconds remaining in the half. 21-13. Male has got the advantage. Let's take a timeout. The Great American Rivalry Series. It is brought to you by the United States Army and iHigh Marketing. .40 seconds remain in the half. DuPont Manual once on the scoreboard, and it will be interesting to see if they get in, if they're going for the 1 or the 2.
I tell you, there's so many things you could call right here, but look for that tight end over the middle.
Motley almost picked off
by Wakefield in there in the secondary.
Anthony Kaiser was already thinking about the celebration. He thought he had 6, but at the last moment, it is Wakefield that steps in and separates.
The sophomore comes in and does it on the defensive side. Says, Coach, put me in. Put me in. The game, it's almost halftime. They can tie us up. And boy, did he, as you said, he broke up a sure touchdown.
I thought it was a touchdown.
I did too. What a ball game, though, huh? Living up to its billing.
It feels like we're at the end of the game trying to decide who's going to be the victor. We're at the end of the half, practically. And we've got another timeout on the field. And we're going to send it down to the sidelines and to Christie.
You guys mentioned Keon Wakefield, just a sophomore. He's a wide receiver in playing defense right now, but he's already been offered by the University of Kentucky. His brother Kieron is at UK as a preferred walk-on, but brother Kieron went to Manual. So you think there's a little rift in that family? I don't know. But tonight I'm sure Kieron is pulling for Male a little bit, considering that little brother plays there. But that was an interesting scenario that Chris Wolf took the job here at Male in 2010. Ron Wakefield, who is Keon's father, joined the staff. So at that point, they wanted to figure out a way to get him here, to get Keon here to be able to play for his father by having him part of the. So he had to come up through the feeder system. They did that appropriately, got him into the middle school, and then he was able to play here at Male. So we'll see what happens. Just a sophomore, but already been offered by the University of Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky played last night, so the rumor is Kieron is here tonight, Christy, here at the game, to watch his younger brother play for the other team.
Got to be difficult to cheer in a rivalry like this. Hand off to Nero. Nero got a nose for the end zone. He's battling inside the 5 to the 4. Wow, Nero wanted that one. Finally able to stop him was Mike Malone.
Well, there were a host of folks there stopping him. And, of course, Emmanuel realizes, hey, we got a couple timeouts. They're not going to do us any good in the locker room. Let's use one right here with 22 seconds left. So good call there by Dr. Lucas. Talking about Dr. Lucas, I had a family member, a nephew that played for him at Bryan Station. I said, what makes him such a great coach? He said, well, for one, he's a player's coach. He loves his player, and he said he is concerned more about what you do off the field. Said he will work your tail off on the field, but he wants you to be good in the classroom. And he said every player on that Bryan Station team that Coach Lucas had just loved him as a head coach. Same thing could be said here at DuPont Manual. They really like what let's call him Doctor, he's earned that, he deserves it, what Dr. Oliver Lucas brings to the coaching for DuPont Manual. He's a good one.
Again, want to say thanks to Wave 3 News, your home for the biggest events in 2014, the Winter Olympics, Thunder over Louisville, Kentucky Oaks, 140th running of the Kentucky Derby with live coverage from Wave 3 News on your TV, your computer, and your phone. Watch it all on Wave 3 News. 21 seconds remain in half number 1. It is first and goal for DuPont Manual. Inside the 5, near the 4. Nero in the backfield. Don't be surprised if Nero's number is called out in that huddle. But then you got a wrist, pretty good receiver.
Yeah, watch for Sissel, too.
Nero churning into the end zone, touchdown.
That right there is a microcosm of this rivalry game, because you see the effort there of the running back. He was stopped at the 3-yard line, but he said, no, this is DuPont Manual Male. I'm not going down. I'm going into the end zone, and he carried half the male team into the end zone. That was an incredible effort by number 27, Michael Nero.
Got DuPont Manual within a pair, 21-19.
And I go for 2. They're kicking it. Go for 2. What's the deal here? I got to get my walkie-talkie to Dr. Lucas, don't I?
Here's that extra point try. Chris Russell, it is blocked. And with 17 seconds remaining in the half,
I rest my case. You haven't been very successful kicking extra points all night. Go for 2. Tie the game up at halftime.
But instead, they go for the 1. It's blocked, and it's a 21-19 score. Here's 17 seconds away from the half. Boy, this is intense, isn't it?
What an intense game.
Here in the box.
It's intense in the press box.
Yeah, members of the crew. Some from Male, others from Manual. And
well, I have no dog in the fight. I didn't go to DuPont Manual or Louisville Male, although they're great academic institutions. That's another thing Christy will probably hit on in the second half. The academics that go on at these 2 high schools. These are 2. When you look at test scores, DuPont Manual is off the charts. Male's off the charts. The only school that's even close is up in Northern Kentucky, Fort Thomas Highlands, academically, and possibly Beechwood. But I tell you, Christy, when it comes to these 2 schools academically, DuPont Manual and the Louisville Male program, I mean, it is like a magnet. I know at halftime, too, Christy's going to try to get one of the coaches going off, too. But, when you look at the academics of these 2 schools, you can't underscore that enough, in my opinion, because that's what's going to carry these guys into life is what they do in the classroom. And that's something that both Chris Wolf, a Highlands disciple himself, who played on the state championship team at Highlands and that great academic school, understands in Male. And that's something that Dr. Oliver Lucas certainly understands at DuPont Manual.
Well, if you just joined us,
you missed a lot.
Yeah, it hasn't been nip and tuck throughout. It was a 14-0 advantage Male early. But since then, DuPont Manual coming back and making it a 2-point ball game, 17 seconds away from the end of the first half. Russell's kick picked up by Northington again at the 7-yard line. Had to go back and get it.
There's a block in the back, Robert.
And a flag comes out as Northington makes his way to the 37-yard line, but there is a flag back at the 13.
And a good call. I was looking right at it. Definitely a block in the back, so that will come back. But another decent return by Northington. He's been doing that all night long for this Male Bulldog team.
Well, if Male was of the mindset possibly to go for something long with the remaining 5.7, I would think after the mark-off, they'll just take a knee, take it to the locker room.
And realize, too, when I'm talking about going for 2 when you're DuPont Manual, I'm not disrespecting the kicker or the extra point team at all. I'm just saying, if you want real momentum after you just scored on a run like that by Nero, who carried half the Male, go for 2, tie it up, go in the locker room and say, hey, guys, it's nothing. It's a whole new half. But, you're only down 2. And Male received the ball, so obviously DuPont Manual will get the ball to start the second half and a chance to maybe take their first lead in the football game.
DuPont Manual back onto the field kick team-wise, it appears. Now let's see if that is just a prevent defense, and apparently it is. Boy, they're just so spread out. It almost looked like the kick team was going out on the field. But instead, it is the prevent defense. They just don't want anything long. So I'm thinking a knee to the turf for Mattingly to wrap up the first half. But the Crimson not so sure.
Well, Christy already talked about Keon Wakefield. I'm telling you right now, before this game is over, number 11, we already saw him break up a touchdown pass in the end zone from the defensive side. And before this game is over, number 11 will make a big catch or a big play offensively because he's just that good. He's just so talented. We've seen him make a couple nice catches. But what I'm saying is, if this game's on the line and I'm a Louisville Male, I'm looking for 11 Wakefield.
Penalty yardage puts Male back to the 22-yard line. There's 5.7 seconds remaining. And let's see indeed if Mattingly puts a knee to the turf or goes upstairs.
That touchdown by Nero, by the way, 12 plays, took 4 minutes, 17 seconds, 74 yards, capped off but that's to Nero. Nero now 118 yards on 17 carries.
Wow. And Mattingly indeed wraps it up. Well, Christie is going to try to catch a DuPont Manual coach before we take a break here at halftime. 21-19 your halftime score. Male jumping out to the 14-0 advantage. But DuPont Manual comes fighting right back. And here at the half, just a 2-point ball game as DuPont Manual makes their way to the field house, and the male squad's got to go through the same walk path, so there's just no mingling of ball players.
Well, but I like what the coaching staff are. They're making sure all the Manual players are off before they let their team go through the tunnel there, or whatever you want to call that over there. But you're right, they're not letting them mingle there to have any kind of friction in this big rivalry game. What a first half, 21-19. The difference is those missed extra points by Manual, which cost them the St. X game last week. They missed the extra point.
And surprisingly, when you've got a matchup between two very good football teams in a rivalry, you would think turnovers might be a problem. You only had one, and really it did nothing in this one.
And as we said, we're still waiting for Christie. She's trying to round up one of the coaches here before we go to halftime.
And let's see if
looks like she's going to
try to grab the coach. Before we take it to a break, I want to say thanks so much to the United States Army and for iHigh Marketing in making this one possible. Christie. All right, we'll send it down to the sidelines to Christie. Well, we apparently have a communications link problem between here and the sideline, so why don't we send it to break and say thanks to the Army for making this one possible.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
119 your halftime score. It was Male on top of Manual. Male jumping out to a 14-0 advantage. Mattingly finding Northington on a couple of touchdown strikes, but DuPont Manual right back into the ball game. It was the 62-yard touchdown run from Nero that began to motivate DuPont Manual to get back into this one. About 5 minutes remaining in the first stanza, And here at the half, it is a 2-point ball game, 21-19. It was a heck of a game and just exactly what it was built.
Yeah, I mean, Male jumped out, as you said, Robert, 14-0. Northington, a couple big touchdown catches there early on. And then Manual came right back. It was all started by that Nero 62-yard John. And, I mean, he was shot out of a cannon down the middle of the field. They missed the extra point there, which was a omen of things to come with that kicking, that extra point. But great job there by Nero to get him right back in it, back and forth. We knew it was two great high school football teams, and it's turned out to be a great first half of high school football. We got Buzz Frank. He is with Old Goat Radio. I think we're going to chat with him very quickly here. You want to chat with him, Robert? You want me to? But Buzz is works with Old Goat Radio, former player here. And Buzz, I tell you what, is this pretty much you've covered Manual for a long time?
Yes, sir.
This has pretty much been their MO all year. I mean, they're battling football teams.
They don't quit. They've got a lot of character on this ball club, and the passing game's come around the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's really opened up the running game for Mike Nero.
Yeah, we saw Nero there on that run, kind of electrifying not only the sidelines, the crowd, but that's made this a totally different ball game.
It certainly has. Male jumped out to a big lead, and Manual never quit, came back and cut the lead, and it's a 2-point ball game at halftime, just what you'd expect from two great football teams.
I'm telling Dr. Lucas to go for 2 there, Buzz. I'm saying go
yeah,
for 2.
Me
go
too.
for 2, but they kicked it. No disrespect to the kicker. I told Robert that. I'm not talking bad about the kicker at all. But it's just, to me, if you want real momentum, and what a run by Nero. He carried half the Male team into the end zone.
But the thing is, Manual does get the football to start the second half, so with the opportunity there, I'm sure that's what they were thinking.
You were talking about the passing game, Buzz. Is this as good an offensive Manual team as you've seen all the years you've covered them?
Yes, they really have both sides of the ball. In years past, they've had some good passing quarterbacks, maybe not the running game, or really great running games. And Mike Nero has certainly blossomed as a running back this year, but Mason Motley has come into his own as a passer, and this receiving core as a group is as good as I've ever seen at the Crimson.
Buzz, what do you think we can expect here in the second half?
I think more of the same. It may come down to the last possession. It's certainly Manual wants to spoil an undefeated season for the Bulldogs. Male wants to keep Manual at bay. I just think it's going to be a great ball game in the second half as well.
I tell you, it's been a fun game to call, and great job. I enjoy listening to you on Old Goat Radio when you do all the.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Buzz.
Thanks, Gary. I appreciate the time. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. It's Buzz Frank. He does the Old Goat Radio, Robert, here has been doing it for a long time. Former player at DuPont Manual, just an all-around. And I said, what do you expect? You probably heard him. He said, I expect pretty much the same thing in the second half we had in the first half.
I just love the name of the radio, Old Goat Radio. What a great first half of this one, and 21-19.
It's like us up here. We're a couple old goats up here. Right. Well, you're quite a bit younger than I am.
I think we both qualify, I guess, for the Old Goat Rodeo. Let's take a break. Be back. United States Army making this one possible, as well as High Marketing. Thank you both. It's the Great American Rivalry Series.
Students, wanting to go to college?
Parents, wanting to send your high school student to college? Know how you're going to pay for it?
Give us 2 minutes and we'll tell you everything you need to know.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. We'll show you exactly how to find grants, scholarships, and if you need it, a loan with the best terms available.
SLFC is here to help.
The Student Loan Finance Corporation works closely with students, as well as their lenders and schools, to alleviate education loan headaches. SLFC specializes in helping students with and servicing alternative loans that feed hungry minds nationwide. SLFC has now introduced a new loan program through member banks of the ICBA, the Independent Community Bankers Association. The iHelp Loan Program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. We ensure that anyone who wants to pursue post-secondary education has access to timely, adequate financing and experienced helpers.
Through the iHelp Loan Program, students are offered loans with low interest rates and no teaser rates.
The program provides private student loans designed to supplement but not replace scholarships, grants, and other financial aid options, including federal student loans currently offered on college campuses.
Not sure where to start? SLFC has designed a website with tons of resources for helping you plan for and fund an education, whether you're in college now or plan on attending college soon. Let's break it down. First, the Planning for College section. This provides you with a timeline to guide you through several of the steps you need to know about when applying to schools. The Paying for College section will help you navigate your way through the financial aid process, making it easier for you to take advantage of all the options available to you.
For example, did you know there are hundreds of scholarships available, and many are actively looking for students? You don't have to be valedictorian to earn these scholarships. We have the details online.
The Toolkit helps you choose a college and career based on your interests and needs, and features our exclusive trend tracker that matches you with colleges based on a variety of criteria.
Imagine, all in one place, the costs of each college, the average test scores, and dozens of other features, all in one graphic map. And finally, if you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp Loan Program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college.
Go to slfc.com and explore all of your options now.
Halftime, 21-19, your halftime score. And let's send it down to the sidelines to Christy Thomas.
Guys, you've been talking about some great football being played. Teams were 6-0 2 weeks ago and then played the same opponents on opposite weekends. That's St. X and Trinity. Male beat Trinity 24-14 for the first time in 13 years. Then Manual lost to St. X just last week, 24-23 on a touchdown scored by St. X. The last play of the game, the extra point was kicked for the win with no time on the clock, and that snapped Manual's 6-game winning streak this season. So we've talked a little bit about the great football being played between Manual and Male, but there's great football in the city of Louisville. When you talk about what a district this is that these guys are playing in, Male with the chance to win that district tonight with this win, but you talk about having to play St. X, Trinity, Manual, or Male, game in, game out, year in and year out. You're talking about some really, really good high school football.
Indeed. What about that football that is here in Louisville? I mean, it doesn't matter what stadium you go to, seemingly.
Well, what Christy just talked about is not only the toughest district in the state of Kentucky, arguably, with Trinity winning the national championship last year, a couple years ago, actually 2 years in a row, arguably the toughest district in the United States of America, in the country, because DuPont Manual is loaded with talent. We've seen that out here on the field tonight. Male is loaded with talent. They're undefeated #1 in the state. St. X and Trinity, well, the records are, you look at who they play, okay? Trinity has played 3 nationally ranked teams. That's 3 of their losses. St. X has played nationally ranked teams, and another loss of theirs was to Trinity, St. X's loss. So Christy's right. The level of football played right here in this 14 district with DuPont, Manual, Male, St. X, and Trinity is as good as you'll see in this great United States of America.
And we are expecting to see some great football in half number 2 of this one. 24 minutes of football left. The early lead, 14-zip by Male, might lead you to believe it was going to be a rout, but they quickly changed. About 8 minutes into the first, DuPont Manual said this is not going to be a rout. We're going to make it a ball game.
And you know it's a rivalry game when your football team decides, okay, we're going to come out airing it out, and they found Northington. And then all of a sudden they said, you know what? We're going to see if you can stop us. We're going to start feeding number 2, Ellis Kane, and see if our offensive line can block you guys. And that's what you know. That's what you know is smash mouth football and 2 rivalries going at it when the guys say, hey, let's see who's got the best line, because we all know where football games are won. They're won in the trenches, okay? And that's what Coach Wolf of Male was trying to decide there. Do my kids want to win this game in the trenches? And that's what Coach Lucas was trying to decide for Manual.
As part of the U.S. Army sponsorship of tonight's game, they have brought their National Army Strong Challenge to Manual Memorial Stadium. We'd like to encourage fans from both Manual and Male to participate in the physical and mental challenge to see what schools fans can stand out among the rest tonight and be considered Army strong. I really appreciate the Army, not only the fact that they protect this country and allow us the opportunity to enjoy many of the things that we enjoy, including watching football on a Friday night, but tonight they're making that sponsorship possible.
My oldest brother Bill was in the Army, so I know what those guys have to do. They're strong. There's Army strong.
Yeah, which is a totally different strong.
That's exactly right. We're not talking Charlie Strong of Louisville, the coach, either.
21-19, it is Male on top at the half. We're back after a timeout. The Great American Rivalry Series in Louisville, Kentucky, and brought to you by those guys and gals with the Army.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
(21-19) your halftime score. 45 degrees in Louisville, Kentucky on a Friday night of football, and you can break it down for us on a statistical basis.
On a statistical basis, yep. Robert, they say numbers don't lie. And in this game, 21-19 is not lying to us. It's telling us we got a pretty good high school football game going on here tonight. Mattingly, by the way, has thrown for 136 yards. Christy Thomas down on the sidelines. She's kind of a numbers lady as well. He's 13 of 18. Mattingly, 3 touchdown passes. Of course, 2 of those came early to Marquay Northington out of the backfield. That little screen pass was deadly there early on for the Bulldogs of Mayo. And then, of course, Northington has 69 yards receiving on 10 catches already in the first half for 2 touchdowns. So Northington, 10 catches already. Mayo, 5 drives of 30 plays, 178 yards for Mayo. And listen to this. We talked about the fact that they started feeding the ball to the running back Ellis Kane. He ended up with 42 yards, and almost all of that coming in the second quarter. So they went to the pass, but Mayo is such a talented football team. Even Buzz Frank with the Ogo radio said it's probably the best offensive unit he's seen for both teams, really, as far as the diversity that they can do so much, pass and run at the same time. He said he's never really seen that, where they have such a good quarterback, receiving core, and so forth. Manual, they have 175 yards of offense on 32 plays. Nero, by the way, look at these numbers for Nero. He has 118 yards on 17 carries, 3 touchdowns. And not only that, he carried, we saw it, he carried about half the Mayo team into the end zone on that 1 touchdown there late in the first half that cut it down to 2.
It has been an impressive first half for Nero. The lone blemish, of course, was that fumble, but it wound up not hurting the DuPont Manual squad.
And Christy Thomas she's going to get Coach Wolf here in a moment down on the sidelines. And, of course, by the way, a little side note there for Christy. Coach Wolf played for Christy's father at Campbellsville University, played his college football for Christy's father, who was a football coach. So her and Coach Wolf are very good friends. And I'll tell you what, he has done a great job here at Louisville Mayo. But it doesn't hurt, guys, when you've got the cerebral players that he's got at Mayo. I mean, these are some smart kids now, and also athletic. So when you combine smarts with athleticism, you got a pretty good combination. I'm talking both Mayo and Manual. And as we said, we're waiting on Coach Wolf to make, and believe me, when he comes out of there, he will stop immediately for Christy Thomas. I'm telling you what, he will stop on a dime. I'm telling you. Watch it. You think I'm kidding?
I'm watching. By the way, in just a moment, let me promo the fact
No pressure.
that we've
Right?
been,
No pressure,
right.
guys. Killing me.
You can do it. We believe in you. We want to talk about it in just a moment. Of course, we're going to break for the conversation, Christy and Coach. But when we come back after the Christy conversation, I want to talk about the rivalry. We've been talking about the matchup tonight, but let's talk about the rivalry, which has been in existence since 1893. A lot of things have transpired over the course of those better than 100 years. And obviously, you don't draw 11,000 people to a stadium on a Friday night just being a ho-hum ball game.
Well, I'm not a historian per se, but aren't we talking about things like the invention of the car, things like that? I mean, goodness gracious, that's a long time.
Long time ago, 1856, Mel put into existence. DuPont Manual in 1893. It's not that often that you got a school that comes into existence in 1893, and it's considered a youngster when compared to Male.
Would compare, exactly.
And the rivalry has been heated, and Christy's got Coach, and we're going to immediately send it down to the sidelines. Christy.
Coach, just talk a little bit about this game so far, what you've seen out of your offense, and obviously exactly what you thought would happen with the rivalry game.
Well, the offense moving the ball pretty well. We had the 1 3 and out, and then we had the 4th down play where we felt like we might have had a guy over the middle, and that something happened to him from the other team, but we didn't get a call on that. Defensively is the biggest concern. They popped a 70-yard run or a 60-yard run, and then they hit the post route. We were in a coverage there where we had a middle-of-the-field defender, but really we played it really poor. And then that last drive, we had the 12 men on the field, and then the holding penalty let them kind of get back in the game here. So it is going to be a challenge for the defense here to step up and stop them on this first drive.
What'd you talk about at halftime then?
Well, we want to stay in our base defense and just try to be physical up front. I mean, there's no real magical thing. They're just handing the ball off. It's nothing really. And then they're max protecting and throwing it down the field. And we can't take a guy out of the box to help on coverage, so our guys got to play better coverage.
Good luck in the second half, Coach. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Christy. And right on 2 folds, you analyzed the first half and kind of gave us an idea of what Coach would say. And then, of course, Christy got the coach. So you're right on 2 counts.
He stopped on a dime.
Yep, on a dime.
Here's the thing, and coaches are always going to say this, as you know. They're always going to talk about penalties that you do. He brought that up to Christy, a late penalty. Too many men on the field, he brought that up. Because that's what he's in the locker room telling his guys. Look, we're up 21-19. But here's what could be happening if we were playing smart. We're smart guys. We're intelligent. We are guys with IQs above the norm here at Louisville Male, and this is what we should be doing. So he was in there. But, he's not really a Newt Rockney type. Hey, guys, get up there on the chair. But Chris Wolf is just a guy that just knows how to coach football and, of course, give Christy Thomas, his father, a lot. He taught him a lot at Campbellsville. Give the Highlands folks up there. I talked to Coach Wolf. He played for Tom Duffy, who's a legendary coach in Kentucky. Duffy won a number of state championships at Fort Thomas Highlands and at Danville High School. That's who Chris Wolf played his high school ball for. And I said, Coach, what did you take? He said, I took a little bit from everybody that I played for. And that's what makes a good coach, is when you're willing to learn. Coach Wolf is a great coach. And of course, I've already documented my respect for Dr. Oliver Lucas. I had a family member play for him, so I know how good of a coach he is.
Second half football. It is just about to get underway. Male and Manual, a 2-point halftime lead for the visitors. We're back after this. The Great American Rivalry Series brought to you by the United States Army.
Camera guy.
All right, it is just about the start of the second half, and Crimson on the sidelines here ready to step out onto the field. Meanwhile, it's the Bulldogs on the opposite sidelines who are in just a moment going to do the same. Christy had a very interesting bit of information that Well, it just adds to the rivalry. Christy?
Guys, you're exactly right. You've mentioned those chilly temperatures. It is a little cool down here on the field, I'll be honest with you. But male coach Chris Wolf, you just heard us talking to him. What you may not have known or seen or paid any attention to was the fact that he has on short sleeves. So I have on Under Armour cold weather gear. I have on a turtleneck. I have on jeans. I have on boots. I have on gloves, the whole 9 yards. He has on short sleeves. The reason being that he has worn that same outfit for the last 9 games. They went 8-0 so far in that outfit. That outfit does not go home with him. He says that it does get washed, though, however, but he keeps it at school and it gets washed with the uniforms. But he says he's sticking to that outfit until they lose, or he said until we win it all. So he said, we're going with this outfit. I don't care what the temperature is. So if anybody's freezing, it's probably him.
You know, I did detect a little nervousness by him talking to Christy about the defense being able to stop Manual. And the reason he's saying that is he jumped out 14-0, and Manual outscored them 19-7 there to get right back in this game. So I'd be a little bit concerned about my defense as well.
Well, concerned about the defense. And, well, I guess this is one of those rare occasions, short sleeve-wise, that it could be beneficial to lose the ball game. I mean, next week you're not having to wear short sleeves out on a cold Friday night. But whatever motivates your squad, whatever superstition you attune to, if that works for you, do it.
This is a great crowd, great high school football. You love to see it. Packed stadium in here, probably 8,000-9,000 in here tonight for this big game. And you know, it's a crisp night, as Christy talked about what all she has on. You know, the officials here tonight, I think have done a great job. You know, and those guys are officiating the game in the same conditions that that we're calling the game in, that the players are playing the game in. So it's a cool night for all. But this is football.
There's an issue with the scoreboard right now, guys. They're down on the field talking about it. The athletic director out on the field with the officials.
Yeah, we noticed the scoreboard does not have all the digits on the scoreboard underneath the names Manual and Guest. Also, the clock is discombobulated, so now the officials apparently, Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, but it appears though the officials will keep the clock down on the stadium floor, and they will periodically make us aware of what time is left in the quarter.
Looks like they do have the minutes working now, Christy, but they're still trying to get the score up there, 21-19.
Yeah, they don't want to hold this up, guys, so they said they're going to keep it in the press box. They'll try to keep you posted as best they can, but a little bit hectic down here as they're trying to figure out what to do, but they don't want to hold the game up.
Well, we had an issue about 5 minutes prior to our broadcast with power in the box, as power went out in the box, and now we've got an issue with the scoreboard. But we will try to keep you posted when we are posted as to the amount of time left in this particular case in stanza number 3. 21-19 halftime score. Male won the coin toss. They received, so now it is Manuel that will receive, and Gordon is back deep to make the grab. And he does so on the goal line. To the 15-20. Stranza Bulldog to the 30, across the 30 to the 33. Well, Gordon wasn't supposed to get to the 33 on that return. He had Bulldogs on him at about the 20.
And Zach Smith just collared him and pulled him down from behind to save that. But you're right. The big fella was rumbling and tumbling up there for DuPont. Manual sets him up in pretty good field position. You know, you talked about, Robert, in that first half, what great field position Male had on the first couple of series.
Indeed, first series, their worst field position of the night, with the lone exception of that last one snapper at the 22. Their worst field position previously was the 31, as DuPont Manual goes back to what worked well in the first half, and that's Nero carrying the football. Davis in on the stop.
Well, Davis made a nice tackle on that. He went at his ankles, and he knows Nero is a great, strong back, and Davis said, I'm going to grab you and you're not going anywhere. That was a great tackle there by a kid that goes 6'2", 235, big Division I prospect, fastest player on the defensive unit.
Second down, 6 football at the 36-yard line. Opening drive of the second half. DuPont Manual has never had the lead in this one, but they've gotten close. Down by 1, 14-13. Early in the second, and just prior to the end of the first half, down by 2 as Nero again carries.
And there's a couple of big defenders in there, and if I'm not mistaken, getting up is big number 73, Paul Blanco, 6'2", 265, and a sophomore. That's a big fella.
And a sophomore. That means he's going to be a bigger fella in a couple of years.
Yes. His senior year, that game would be right back here at DuPont Memorial Stadium. Next year, they'll go over to Mayo Stadium for the old rivalry game. Oldest rivalry in the state.
And oldest west of the Appalachians. 3rd down 4. Motley, first pass of the second half. Grab is made. That is Eric Nyman. And Nyman's got the first out to the 48.
And you know what I like about the receivers by Manuel is they really extend their hands to get that pass. You know, did you see Newman on that play? He extended the hands. It was high. He pulled it down. These receivers for DuPont Manual, if Christy could find out who the receivers coach for DuPont Manual is, because he is outstanding.
Nearing the 10-minute mark here in the 3rd. First down 10, football on the 49, a yard shy of Male territory, opening drive of the second half. Motley on the delay to Nero. And Nero's going to be wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage.
And it was the delay that caught him, as you called it. Excellent on the delay there. And I tell you what, Ed Moore was there. And they credit Palmer, but I'm telling you what, Ed Moore was the guy who blew up that play.
Scott Radcliffe, your wide receivers coach for Manual.
He's a good one. He's a good coach. Let's give him some love.
Both receivers coaches, both sides. I'll tell you what, they're the quarterback to receiver combo in the first half. Impressive by both Motley and Mattingly.
Blitz being shown now by Mayo.
On a 2nd down and 1, handoff to Nero, and again, Nero snuffed out near the line of scrimmage.
Just so hard to run into that middle there for Mayo because there's so many weapons up there defensively. Marcus Davis, Ed Moore, Paul Blanco, Anthony Cummins, and then, of course, Malik Malone and Miller, the linebackers, just wreaking havoc there. I'm not sure, Christy, why Manual didn't go with the pass there on that play. They got such great receivers. Of course, 3rd down, they almost got a pass now.
Motley's been effective through the air.
Very effective.
3rd down, 11. Football at the 48-yard line. Motley, he's got Nero in the backfield. Twin receivers to this side, single to the opposite. Motley at the last moment. Toss, got a receiver open. It is dropped. Isaac Draper had it and dropped it.
Right in his hands. And prior to that, guys, they were 3 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. And that was an absolute rope thrown by Motley. And you're right, Mr. Draper saying, gosh, I should have had a touchdown.
Well, the lone spot you don't want to trot after dropping that pass is the sidelines, but that's where Draper.
You kind of wonder if the locker room door is still open.
If it is, he's headed to it. But I got a feeling, based on the quality of play we've seen from Draper over the course of the season.
He's not done.
That's right. He'll be back. Punt. He's a wobbly one that hits at the 26. Does take a DuPont Manual roll down to the 15. This will be the worst field position of the night for Mayo.
36-yard punt there, Robert, but no return, as you said. So you get the result you're looking for there with no return.
First half, you had drive start at your 40, their 45. Worst field position, as I mentioned, was your own 31. So field position advantages belong to Mayo in the first half. Here in the second half, at least early, it belongs to Manual. They got to start at the 33, whereas Mayo begins at their 15.
And I guess Coach Wolf got his answer as far as if his defense would step up and be able to stop Manual on that opening drive of the second half.
First down and 10 for Mattingly. He will go upstairs, throws to Nero out of the backfield. Crosses the 20, and when it appears as though a short pass would result in 2 or 3, he gets 8 or 9.
And that was Dorsey, by the way, who made that tackle there on Ellis Kane out of the backfield. Dorsey, the sophomore for the Crimson, making a nice tackle, but they almost moved the chains. That was almost a gain of 10 yards there. They're taking a page out of the Manual playbook.
Second and very short. Mattingly, pass play. It is complete. Avery Haynes makes the grab, gets the first on the short pass to the 30.
in coverage there was a guy who we've called a lot tonight.
Tyler Martin Miles. Well, periodically our scoreboard works, and if it is currently accurate, it's 7:36 left to play in the third.
Well, that sounds about right, too, because we had the opening drive by Manuel that chewed up some clock, and now you got Mail with the ball. So that sounds about right on the time.
First down, 10 at the 30. And wrapped up at the 25. Grabbed and brought to the turf by Smith.
That's a tremendous play by Damian Smith because he had a blocker there, blocking him off the play, and he was able to feed off that blocker and still make the tackle on a great running back, Northington, out of the backfield. That's a big-time play right there.
Not often that Northington has been brought down behind the line of scrimmage, but loses 5 on the pass play from Mattingly.
First time tonight, I think he has.
Back to the 25. Second down, 15. You've got across the 40. To get the first, got a couple of plays to try to do it. Mattingly maybe changing the play. Drops back, stands in the pocket, fires, and it is incomplete, intended for Avery Haynes. Haynes got twisted around. If he had been able to get that body turned to where you make the grab over the right shoulder, maybe you got the first near the 45, but instead incomplete.
Ryan West made that play, guys. West was in there on top of the quarterback, Mattingly, caused him to hurry his pass just a little bit to overshoot the receiver. That's a big-time play by the outside linebacker. One of the captains of this team, Ryan West, also has a 3.6 grade point average.
Mattingly has not been sacked tonight, but Ryan West has come awful close on some plays. Fake to Kane over the middle. That should be pass interference, and here comes the flag.
That's a good call.
Britt the target.
Because what happened, Christie's right out on the field. Terrell Scruggs came right through the receiver. You got to give him a chance to catch the football, and Scruggs ran right through him. If he takes his hand and kind of goes around a little bit and hooks him, they probably don't throw the flag, but he went right through the intended receiver, which was number 7, Britt.
For a moment, there was a little delay in getting the flags out, so for a moment I'm thinking they're not going to call an obvious pass interference. By the way, the DuPont Manual fans didn't think it was so obvious, but indeed pass interference.
And then you know what? It was 3rd and long, and the thing about that pass interference, it does give them a first down at the 40. That's huge.
It would be third down and 14 and a half. But the 15 on the mark-off makes it 1st and 10 at the 40.
And, Christy, we do have the referee trying to determine about the yardage, but he's saying, yes, that will be a first down.
Yeah, right. There was no question about great angle on that. There was no question about that call. But this is a really difficult scenario, I think, for the players and for the officials when they're trying to figure out what's going on with the scoreboard. The time comes up and then it disappears, and then it comes up and disappears, and every time, of course, it does come up, it's a different time. So this is really kind of accentuating circumstances for both teams down here.
First down and 10. Handoff goes to Kane. Kane tries the right side, finds a little seam, pops through it, gets 7. Well, in the stadium here, too, at Manual Memorial Stadium, there was just one scoreboard, so it's not like you, from one perspective on the field, are looking into the eyes of another scoreboard. There is one. In this particular case, it is behind Mail.
Tyron Horton, by the way, made that big pop on the sideline. He's made a number of pops tonight for that Crimson defense.
The time popping up currently is 5:45 left to play in the third. Again, we're making the assumption that it's accurate as Mattingly has the pass complete to Keon Wakefield. Wakefield bobbled it for a moment, but then grabs control and gets the first at the 48.
Good coverage there by Lucas. He hit him immediately and dropped him, but as you said, the pass was being bobbled there by Wakefield. He pulled it into his body, and then as soon as he turned around, Justice Lucas kid right on top of him. We talked about that matchup early on in this game. A pair of number 11s working with each other, Wakefield and Lucas, the son of the head coach, Dr. Oliver Lucas for Manual.
Another first down for Mail. Opening drive for Mail in the second half. Started at their 15, currently at the 47 of DuPont Manual.
I think he's audible I think he's using an audible here, Robert. Looks like he did change the play to Davis Mattingly.
Tyrone Wilkerson in the backfield, and Wilkerson is the intended target of the pass that led him a bit too much for Mattingly. Well, primarily it's been Ellis Kane in the backfield, the 5'10", 195-pounder, but went with a smaller statue in Tyrone Wilkerson at 5'8", 180.
Christie has a better angle at DuPont Manual, but, even those helmets from up here in the press box look pretty imposing, don't they?
Well, they do, and I can tell you who else is imposing is number 78, George Daly, an offensive lineman, just came over here and screamed at the at the fans. He screamed at the student section and said, "Are you all going to cheer or what?" And right about that time, they all busted out into a cheer. So he's trying to get the student section fired up to get his team fired up.
Little multitasking going on, and a little concern about some footsteps from Ellis Kane. You could tell by the body language that he felt the pressure from Bolden and dropped the football.
And they list him at 5'10", 190 pounds, but I tell you what, with all that equipment on, he looks much bigger than that to me from up here in the press box, and I think he definitely put a little fear there in Kane on that screen pass.
3rd down, 10, football of the 47. DuPont Manuals fans on their feet, inside 5 to play in the 3rd in a 2-point ball game. Mattingly, fake to Kane, goes upstairs. It's almost picked off, intended for Avery Haynes. And again, Tyler Martin Miles, well, he's all over the place.
He's everywhere. He's omnipresent. He makes tackles. He nearly, and Christie, you know as well as that, he should have picked that one off. I mean, he had that played perfectly for the pick there, did Tyler Martin Miles. But you're right, Robert. He has been outstanding tonight. If we gave out a defensive star right now, we have to give it to number 2 at DuPont Manual.
We have called his name frequently. 4th down, 10. And both teams now with their shots in the second half, and they've come up nil. Mattingly also handling the kicking chores for Mail, kicking from his 41-yard line.
Nice punt.
The drives Hassel back. And then he makes his way up to the 19. Flags come in late.
I think that's going to be Christie's right down there across from that. And Christie, I think that's going to be unsportsmanlike. Waiting to see what the officials call.
I believe you're going to find a little bit more of that. The later this game gets, the chippier this one's going to get.
Exactly. Tempers flare, as I say, Robert. Tempers flare.
Down to the 19-yard line, but let's see if this one's going a little further. I guess that would be west. My directions are not the best in the world, but I'm thinking we're headed to the west.
I'm directionally challenged myself, but I would say that's correct.
To the 8-yard line, so the drives in the second half at the 33 and the 8 for DuPont Manual, whereas it was the 15 for Mail.
At the Manual 8-yard line.
Well, let's see if the play calling changes for DuPont Manual when you're inside your own 10. More reason to give it to Nero. And Nero is lassoed at the 13, gain of 5. Evans in on the stop.
And not only did Evans make the play, he kind of sent a message with that play that, hey, you know what? You bring that out here and you're going to get knocked around pretty good. Evans kind of an exclamation there as he threw Nero down to the grass here.
Gain of 5, 2nd and 5 coming up.
And that's another thing you got to like about this field. That's natural grass, isn't it, Christie? I mean, that's none of that sports turf.
2nd down, 5. Motley, give goes to Nero. Nero trying to find a seam and breaks free. 40. Midfield. Looks behind to see if he can be caught. 30. 10-5 into the end zone. Touchdown. 86-yard touchdown run for Nero.
And did you see who was chasing him? Wakefield was giving a great effort chasing him, and Nero saw him, as you said, Robert. He looked over the shoulder. There he is, and he realized he had to really clutch that football or he's going to lose it at the 1-yard line. Great effort by both players, Nero and by Wakefield, trying to track him down. And I think, let's go down to Christie.
Guys, the carry before that, Coach Lucas said, cut it back. He wanted him to cut it back. He went to the outside and ended up getting tackled. And he said, cut it back. It's exactly what he just did. Then he busted one wide open.
86 yards on the Nero touchdown run.
4th touchdown tonight for number 27, Nero.
And it gives DuPont Manual their first lead of the ball game.
Remember, Male jumped out 14-0 in this game. Since that point, it has been 25-7, right? Am I right in my math? Yeah, 25-7. Manual.
Timeout. 3:49 left to play in the third, and Manual's got their first lead. Let's take a break. The Great American Rivalry Series is a production of the U.S. Army. Nero no longer working on a 100-yard night. He is over the 200-yard mark. I guess he's working on a 300-yard night with still 3:49 to play in the third.
Amazing what an 87-yard would do for your stats, isn't it?
Wow. Everybody has forgotten that fumble Nero committed at midfield.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And they are going for 2. Go figure.
Motley underneath center. Wrist in motion. Motley, incomplete.
What a great call, though. I love the call. Go to your tight end, and he was open. I love the call there, though, by DuPont Manual. They came up a little short, but they have got their first lead of the ball game.
Anthony Kaiser, sophomore, 5'10", 200-pounder, the intended target on the two-point conversion attempt, but it fails. But as you mentioned, DuPont Manual, their first lead of the ball game, 25-21, a series that started in 1893. The principal at Male wasn't in favor of the game at that particular point. I don't know about a series, but he wasn't in favor of having the game. But he did tell his guys, you dang sure better win it.
And I'm telling you right now, Robert and Krista, you know it's a rivalry game when your opponent just beat St. X and Trinity. The St. X and Trinity, the powerhouses in the country, okay, Trinity a national champion. And then they come in, and Manual says, okay, you jump out 14-0, no problem. Here they come battling back, 25-7. They've got their first lead, 25-21. This Manual team is for real. Don't you think otherwise?
It has been the Michael Nero show, though. Better than 200 yards rushing. 4 touchdowns on the night, one of 62 yards, another of 86. Pooch kick, fair catch called for and made by Tyrone Wilkerson. And that will give Male excellent field position. I understand the logic. You're trying to catch them off. Maybe you get the football back on what becomes, in essence, an onside. But you've given Male, who's got a great offense, excellent field position.
I don't like it. I kicked the football down there. You're just taking the lead. You've got momentum. Kick the football down. But I guess what they're thinking was is Northington has killed us all night. I mean, he opened up the game with a return to the 40-yard line, and the kid's got some talent, unbelievable wheels. But I don't like it. I kicked the ball down there and try to back Male up. And now you got Male starting at the 40-yard line. Go figure that, huh? The 40 seems to be the yard line for Male tonight to start a series.
Late in the third stanza, when the scoreboard occasionally pops up the time, it says 3:49.
Hey, this is Male and Manual. We don't need a scoreboard. Just turn it off.
Left in the third, first down at 10, football to the 40. Mattingly. That was where it should be. It was just dropped by Wakefield.
But I'm telling you what, Christy, Lucas's son had a shot on that, and I thought he was going to pick the ball off, but I don't know, he was in La La Land or something.
No catchable ball for Wakefield, though. That's 6 points going the other direction. That's 6 points going this way.
Yeah.
Very catchable ball for him.
Yeah, that's another way to look at it. But I'm looking at it on the defensive side. You got to make the defensive play.
You know, but you've had drops on both sides from guys that typically catch the football.
And these are good receivers.
Second down 10. Kane popped to the backfield, able to spring forward for a couple. It will bring up third down and 8 as Dorsey's in on the stop.
Yeah, Dorsey made a nice tackle on that. Got him low, pulled him down from behind. Pick up of about 2-3 yards. So 3rd and long here for Male. And they find themselves for their first time tonight trailing with a big 3rd down here. So let's see if the DuPont Manual defense can step up here late in this 3rd quarter.
Mattingly, big first half, 3 touchdown strikes, all went to Northington. Quiet second half thus far. Plenty of time, and the pass is behind Avery Haynes.
First time tonight we've really seen Mattingly off kilter a little bit. Haynes was wide open. Just get the ball to him. It's one of the easiest throws he's had tonight, and he doesn't make it in a critical point in the ball game, and Male's going to have to punt the football.
Antonio Hassel will stand at his 30. Mattingly will kick from his 29 with 3:03 to play in the 3rd.
Boy, as they say about Big Mo, and Big Mo right now is on Big DuPont Manual's shoulders big time.
Mattingly, who doubles as the team's punter. Line drive kick should be returnable, but Hassel calls for the fair catch of the 30. I thought he might could get about 5 or 10 out of that one, but he does not.
Hassel wearing the same number, by the way, Christy, as our good friend Keenan Burton, former Kentucky Wildcat, who plays. I'm coated up here now, Mr. Ford. Thank you.
You know, Rick gets in a better mood at certain points during the ball game, and he's in a good mood right now.
When he knows everything's working and everything's, And you know, when you got the Army Strong involved, you know, there's strong and there's Army Strong. That's strong.
First down and 10, football at the 30. I formation with twin receivers to this side. Keep giving it to Nero.
Keep feeding the big fella.
Well, Nero deserves credit. Now, don't get me wrong. He deserves credit on all these runs, but he had some fine blocking out in front of him there.
Oh, my goodness. Did he ever. Starting up there, Christy, with Burba, the center, Key, Daly, Vinegar, and how about Austin Latspick making his first start tonight at tackle tonight? And
that's not good news.
Is that Nero down, shaking up?
It is.
So Nero down. Christy will get us an update on that. The trainer's working on him, Dr. Lucas out there. And by the way, if you're wondering why we call him Dr. Lucas, he has his doctorate. And I tell you what, when you talk to him, Christy and Robert, you can tell he's a very, very cerebral, intelligent guy. He can break down anything for you, Dr. Lucas, and he's out there looking at his superstar running back, Nero, right now. And Christy's eyeballing it right across the field there. She'll tell us about it and what you're waiting to see, if it's cramps or what the deal is. But it looks like a little bit more than cramps from up here at the press box. And by the way, you know, I'm liking his vantage point up here at the 50-yard line. You know, I'm not having to use my binoculars a whole lot to spot. And by the way, folks watching this game, we don't use a stinking spotter here on the Great America. Robert and I are calling this game from eyeballs up here. We don't have a spotter up here. We got a stat guy, Gary, and he's on top of it. But we're calling this game, as they say, like we see it up here.
I don't know if James down in the truck can give us another look at the replay on the Nero run, as he looks pretty good now coming to the sidelines. And I don't know if we can maybe get an idea of what went wrong, but he was following a wall of blockers. Let's take another look at it and see if we can spot what happened to Nero on the carry. He got that wall of blockers out in front of him, and somewhere along the line injures that leg.
I see right there, it got caught up under him there, and one of the players landed on it. That's what happened. His leg was kind of buckled behind him there, and one of the players landed on it. But Christy right on top of it. She'll give us an update on that.
Across the 45 to the 46-yard line, couple of yards by Trey Gordon. We're talking about some big shoes to fill if you're Gordon.
Clock is right with 2:20. Gordon's, you know, he's a junior. He's a captain, so there's a reason you name a junior a captain. Coach Dr. Lucas really high on this young man.
Gains a couple of yards, second down and 8, football at the 46. 4-point advantage. Biggest lead of the game belonged to Mel when they led by 14.
There you go.
Here comes Mr. Gordon inside the 30, shoved out of bounds at the 24.
Don't call him Flash.
Wow. Nero with better than 200 yards on the sidelines. You put Gordon in, and he just picks up where Nero left off.
Now you can call him Flash Gordon.
to the 23-yard line where it is first down at 10. And by the way, you're doing this against the #1 team in the state.
Exactly. Male is very good. Have we said that?
Several times, I believe. But Manuel's been, at least in the second half, very gooder as Gordon makes his way to the 15.
Now you know why Dr. Lucas is so high on number 22, don't you? I mean, you got Nero, who's one of the best backs in the state, and then you can bring Gordon in there when he's injured, and Christy will give us that update on Nero down there. But Christy, you don't lose a whole lot when you bring number 22 in there.
Guys, they put a wrapped it up, the protective cover over his shin, wrapped it up, and he's now back on the sidelines with his helmet on, ready to go. He was grimacing. You can tell he's in pain. I don't know that it's anything terribly serious right now, but I'm not sure that it would keep him off the field, even if it was. He was ready to go.
All right, thank you so much. And Kaiser making his way inside the 10. Miller in on the stop.
Well, Miller was not only in a stop, he spun him around with some authority and said, if you're going to come in here like that, big fella, you better bring. But I'll tell you what, the tackling all night, when you think about it, there's been some message tackles sent in this game when it's a rivalry game like Male and Manual.
DuPont Manual has taken control in the third quarter. It has been dominant. Manual in stanza number 3 as the handoff goes to Gordon.
Did you see that play by Malik Malone? He's on the ground with the defender laying, with the offensive lineman laying on top of him. He reaches up and has the strength to make the tackle. That's unbelievable. I gotta watch that again.
By the way, that was Nero on the carry.
Yeah.
So Nero's already back in there.
What a play by Malone. He's on the ground making the tackle.
Inside a minute to play in the third. I formation, Nero, who got tackled on that previous play, again around that ankle area that bothered him after the big gainer, and it seemed to be hobbled a bit. Touchdown strike. Sissel puts Manuel over the 30-point barrier.
Boy, Sissel runs good routes. That's his 6th touchdown catch. Number 6 for Sissel. And what a well-thrown ball by Motley. It doesn't get much better than that. The blitz was coming from the backside, and Motley stepped right up in there in the pocket and laid an absolute bullet to Sissel, his 6th touchdown catch of the year.
As a matter of fact, Sissel's grab, I think, was right where Rick Ford made his first touchdown grab a couple of years back.
He had a touchdown?
Sassel's kick. It is good. 32-21. First double-digit advantage. It belongs to DuPont Manual.
They've outscored them 32-7 since it was 14-0 Manual.
Well, Manual taking the commanding lead with a half minute to go in the third. Let's take a break and be back. This is the Great American Rivalry Series brought to you by the U.S. Army.
Rivalry.
30 seconds remain in the third. It has been a dominant performance in the 12 minutes that comprised the third stanza by DuPont Manual. They were down by 2. That pooch kick again. And again, the fair catch called for and made at the 37-yard line by Wilkerson.
I'm telling you right now, this is a critical series for the Male offense. You're down now 32-21. Your opponent has outscored you 32-7 since you led 14-0. You have got to take one down here and show why you're the #1 ranked team in the state of Kentucky.
I see down in the stands soldiers in the United States Army tossing T-shirts into the stands. Again, thanks so much to the Army for making coverage of tonight's ball game possible. They were there for the coin toss, tossing T-shirts into the stands. The Army, they are there for us in football in the United States of America as well. As Mattingly goes long, Northington, the intended target. It is incomplete, but there's a pass interference call as Northington tried to come back and get it.
Prior to that pass, Quarterback Mattingly was 3 for 9 prior to that completion, that penalty there. He was just 3 for 9 for just 5 yards here in the second half. But he aired that one out. I'm surprised he's not looking for Wakefield more, but he's looking all night long for Northington. Of course, he does have 2 touchdown catches.
Are you panicking a bit if you are Male? I mean, you're down by 11. There's still plenty of time left.
If I don't score in this series, I'm panicking if I'm Male. I'm not throwing in the towel, but I'm a little bit concerned because you're giving the ball back to Manual if you don't score. That has been lights out on their last few series, starting back to the second quarter.
Unbeaten record, 8-0 coming in, top ranking in the state, all on the line with 12 and a half minutes left to play in this football game. First down and 10, handoff goes to Kane. Kane had a seam. It looked bigger than it actually was and wound up with 3.
Nice play by Bolden, Colin Bolden there, the linebacker, making a good play for the Manual defense. You know, we have not seen Kane really break one like we saw Nero pop a couple big ones, but Kane certainly is capable of that. He popped a big 70-yard TD run against Trinity last week.
That is it for the third. We head into the fourth, and the lead has changed hands. It's got a new address, and it belongs to DuPont Manual. We are back for the Great American Rivalry Series, final 12 minutes of the game that started it all. And tonight it is brought to you by the United States Army. Second down, 6 as we head into the fourth stanza. Well, Mel's got to, whether they run or pass the football, got to rely on that big offensive line. Tell us about it, Christy.
You guys are exactly right. Number 76, he's the right tackle, Isaiah Arnold, 6'3", 337. Then at left guard, number 79, Marcus Butler goes 6'6", 370. They've had a ton of success on offense thanks to these guys. When you've got an offensive line like that, these guys are huge, especially when you get down here on the field and you can see how big they are. They run a no-huddle offense, on average about 8 seconds in between plays. So these guys not only are big, but they also have to be in shape and they got to have quick feet. So far they've had that. A big series here as this O-line's going to have to hold.
And Tyrone Horton just decked the quarterback badly, but somehow he got away from Wakefield and made a great catch.
I thought he was throwing it away and got it into the gut of Wakefield. Handoff goes to Kane. Kane down the sidelines. 20, 15, 10. Stays inbounds until he gets inside the 13, and Mel's back in business in the red zone.
And back to that last that you thought he was going to be sacked or just getting it away. He jumped right back up. He said, Horton, 35, you're tough? Is that all you got? This is Male Manual, baby. You better bring more than that. And then hands off to Kane, as you said, nearly popped it for a touchdown.
First down, 10. Opening moments of the fourth stanza. Kane's got it again.
There's a flag.
Gain of 5 by Kane, but let's see what the flag is about.
Looks like it's going to be a block in the back is what I saw against the offensive line. But back to what we were talking about, a critical series here to start this fourth quarter. Male has to take one down here and punch it in. I was watching, there was no face mask. He grabbed him up around here, around the, and you think about the horse collar. It wasn't a horse collar, so it had to be something against the offensive line. In my opinion, we'll wait and let the official call it. And it is going to be holding against the offensive line.
So that will bring the 5-yard Kane run backwards. This is a series, by the way, that was always played on Thanksgiving Day until 1976.
Right. That's because there were no playoff at the time. When you didn't have playoffs, you could play it on Thanksgiving Day. Now with the playoffs, what these two teams are hoping is the day after Thanksgiving, they're playing in the state semifinals.
After the 1976 game, moved to the last Friday night in October. A few years back, about 1915 to 1918, in which the two schools were consolidated, so obviously they didn't play one another. As Mattingly drops back, fires towards the corner of the end zone, and out of the end zone, the grab is made by Wakefield. I thought there was some contact there, and it wasn't going to surprise me if a flag comes out, but there is no flag.
Christy, we have been watching that matchup all night between Dr. Lucas's son Justice and Wakefield. Those two guys have battled, but I'm telling you, as I said back early in this game, before this night's over, Wakefield will make a big play for the Male offense, and he nearly came up with one there.
Second down, 15, football to the 19. 11:24 left to play. Big drive for Male. Down by 11. Mattingly to Wakefield, incomplete, or was it picked off? No.
Almost picked off by Scruggs. Terrell Scruggs there had us, but it hit the ground. You know, that pass was high there to Wakefield, but that's one that he normally pulls down. Christy, as you know, you mentioned he's already been offered by Kentucky, and he's only a sophomore.
The incomplete.
His dad over here on the sidelines coaching him up. He said, "You got to."
Well, we lost Christy with our line of communication. Third down, 15. Football at the 17. Mattingly, pass complete to Wakefield. Well, it's decision time as Wakefield's brought down to the 10. Do you want the 6, or are you more satisfied with the 3? Looks like they've already made the decision. Nobody heading from the sidelines onto the turf or vice versa.
Yeah, that's a nice tackle there by Overstreet, because that's not an easy guy to tackle in the open field. Wakefield with his speed, and we know he has moves. Looks like in a 32-21 game, they're going to bring in their field goal kicker and try to make it a one-possession game with a 2-point conversion if they make the field goal.
A late arrival of your field goal unit. Jonah White will try to make it a 32-24 game. The field goal is a 28-yarder. Kick is up, looks good from here, but the officials say it's not. They got a lot better view than we do from this angle, and they say it did not find the uprights.
Looks like it just went off to the right. Christie probably has a better angle on it, or maybe not, I'm not sure, but looked like it just went off to the right from up here. Plenty of leg, though.
So the ball game score stays at 32-21. DuPont Manual with that 11-point lead. That was a big stop for DuPont Manual.
We're in the fourth quarter, and remember, Dr. Lucas has never lost to Male. Fourth-year coach at DuPont Manual. He's never lost the big rivalry game.
Nero back into the lineup, gets 4.
Field goal was wide left, guys.
Wide left on the field goal try. Thanks. Got a lot better view down there than we do up here. From this vantage point, not looking bad, but it is errant, and the lead stays at 11. 4 on the Nero game. Second down and 6. Do you get a little more conservative here with an 11-point lead and inside 10 to play?
Well, if you're Male, what you're wanting to do is you want to strip the football. You got to get a turnover. You know, you got, as you said, 9:48 to play. You got to get a turnover here if you're Male.
Nero with the football. He looks hobbled. When he took the football and tried to make his way to the line of scrimmage, he just looked hobbled, and then he gives a kick.
And the reaction there was because when Marcus Davis got up after he made the tackle on Nero, he kind of took his, shoved him a little bit, and the fans wanted a flag there. And that's one that Coach Wolf, you remember in the first half when we had unsportsmanlike against Manual, Dr. Lucas let his player have it. And that's one Coach Wolf probably will register away and talk to Mr. Davis about.
Third down 10, no gain on the Nero carry. And Nero does not look like the same Nero when he got hurt down here at about the 42-yard line in the third quarter. I say that and watch him rip a 81-yarder off here is Motley.
Flash Gordon's pretty good.
Motley sacked, but a flag comes in. That might be for hold, though, as those offensive linemen were trying to keep that pocket open for Motley. Let's see.
There was a tackle in the backfield by an offensive lineman, so that will be holding. And you're right, good pressure that time by Male. They know they've got to bring the house. They're down 32-21. They just missed a field goal that would have cut it to one possession, so they've got to get the stop here. But here's what you can do. Decline it, and you'll force Manuel to punt the ball. And if I'm Male, I send Wakefield back there, and I tell Mr. Wakefield, look, you make this a much tighter ball game, Keon. You're the big play guy. And you go back there and see what you can do. Looks like they are going to drop him back.
Penalty is indeed declined. Brings up a punting situation.
Smith is back deep as well. Bad punt.
Wrist does get a bit of a DuPont manual roll across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Well, the one thing the previous drive did was consume about 90 seconds off the clock.
You know, it's kind of playing, though, and even though Male missed the field goal and everybody's saying, what are you talking about? They're down 32. It's kind of playing in Male's favor because they're starting at the 47 of Manual. They got plenty of time. They've got, a couple timeouts left, or all 3 timeouts left, according to the scoreboard, if it's working correctly. But, here's the thing. You're down 32-21. You take one down here, you punch it in, you go for 2, you got a field goal ball game. You got a 32-29 ball game.
Second best field position of the ball game for Male. They did have a drive that started in the first stanza at the 45 after a shank punt by Wrist. Mattingly setting up the screen. Kane trying to get around that big 330-pounder. You're trying to get around a wide body. That was Kane trying to do just that around Marcus Smith Jr.
And Wesley Overstreet, the linebacker, 6 foot, 210-pound senior, made an outstanding tackle on that play for the defense for the Crimson of DuPont Manual.
By the way, I said that he was 330, try 370 on for size.
Wow. He's just a few Twinkies shy of 400, isn't he?
Kane down to the 33. And a second and short turns into a first and 10.
Yeah, he is a big fella. Christie already talked about Marcus Butler, 6'6", looking down at him, 370. Goodness.
Inside 8 minutes to go.
Watch out for Wakefield here. He split out to the top.
And you've got Northington in motion. Again, setting up the screen to Kane. And Kane to the 20, 15-10. Inside the 5, near the 3, it will be first and goal.
Saving tackle there, Robert.
Terrell Scruggs able to stop Kane before he made his way into the end zone.
Nicely designed play there. I love it. We've seen that play work so many times tonight for Male. It worked earlier to Northington, and now it's working to Ellis Kane, and he nearly took that in for the score, if not for a great play by Terrell Scruggs. It would have been 6.
First and goal from the 3. Kane to the 1.
And you know what you're telling them right here, Christie? And you're telling your team, if you're Chris Wolf, hold on to the football. Do not turn it over. Turnovers have killed Male. In the last 3 of these games, Male has lost this game because of turnovers. Last 3 games in this series.
Male has only coughed the football up once, and they were able to recover their own fumble. It was a Kane fumble, by the way, but recovered by Wakefield. The only turnover was by DuPont Manual.
And look who's in the backfield. Big number 51 is back there to block. We got to get a beat on him.
Kane, touchdown.
That was
more.
He goes 280, and he blew up. I mean, he absolutely pile drived it, didn't he?
Kane's got the touchdown. And Male,
I go for 2. They're going to kick it, but I go for 2 here, make it a field goal game. They're talking about it. The quarterback, Manley's looking. He's saying, "Come on, coach, let's go for 2. We can make it a field goal game." He's asking for it, but they got the kicker out there, and it looks like he's going to put it down and place it down, hold it on, make it a 32-28 ball game.
Well, Mattingly is the holder, though. Let's see if there's any razzle-dazzle coming. Snap, hold,
there is.
There is. Mattingly Fires to the back of the end zone, and the two-point conversion good.
There was razzle-dazzle, and it was outstanding.
Zach Hall.
Hall pulled it in, and you're right, that was a good call about the quarterback being the holder, and he reared up and said, Hall, you get open, and this is a 32-29 football game.
So it is a one-possession outing with still plenty of time left. 5 minutes, 51 seconds to play if the scoreboard clock is accurate. We'll take a timeout. The Great American Rivalry Series is in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's brought to you by the U.S. Army.
There's no need to worry about how you're going to pay for college anymore. The iHelp loan program enables students to fill their needs when financing their education. If you need to borrow money for college, as most Americans do, SLFC and the iHelp loan program may be your best option. The loan features the most competitive rate available and is offered through your local ICBA bank with the help of SLFC, the student loan company thousands have trusted to help them pay for college. Go to slfc.com and explore all your options now.
Well, can we say we don't have a clue who's going to win this one? 3-point ball game with lots of time left.
Back and forth we've gone. Male jumped out 14-0. Manual battled back. They took the lead. And now Male has scored to make it a 32-29 Manual lead, and Male kicking off to Manual.
Little adrenaline has that one to the goal line.
That's a touchback. Of course, your foot can't be in the end zone in high school football.
So out of the 20 we go as Hassel had a foot in the end zone, touchback.
Of course, if you're DuPont Manual, you have to have amnesia about last week when St. X scored on the last play of the game and kicked the extra point to beat you. You just have to forget about that.
Motley, a late arrival into the DuPont Manual huddle. It is first down and 10 at the 20-yard line. Crimsons would love to have about a 6-minute drive that results in 6. Handoff goes to Nero. Nero is shoved backwards. Well, you were talking about momentum a little earlier in the ballgame. That might have shifted to the other side of the stadium for the moment.
Yeah, and that just was great defense by Male's defense. I mean, Miller was there. Who else? With Davis. I mean, there were 4 or 5 guys on top of Nero, and I totally agree with you, Robert. This is not the same Nero we saw without the injury that he sustained on that one run here in this second half. He's just not getting to that hole as quickly as he was before.
Occasionally the scoreboard clock, which is functioning at times and malfunctioning at others, pops up a time. It says 5:11 left to play in the fourth.
32-29, DuPont Manual on top of Male.
Second down, 13. Motley to pass. Incomplete. Male perfectly content with an incomplete pass that will stop the clock. And make it a third down.
You know, he had him open out there, did the quarterback, Motley, and that's one of his primary targets, Matthew Sissel, the senior tight end, and he had him open. He just overthrew him, so that's one that Motley wishes he could get back here in this critical point in the football game with your opponent just scoring late and cutting this to a 32-29 game.
By the way, for those of you just joining us, a malfunctioning scoreboard in the second half, so we're not certain, because it now appears the clock is showing 5:55, whereas it was in the 5s moments ago as the pass is complete to Nero, and Nero trying to battle his way for a first, but he will stop way shy. Wasn't able to get back to the original line of scrimmage as Malone is in on the stop. And when I say original line of scrimmage, as to where this drive started, of course, on the first play from scrimmage, Nero shoved back 3.
I think Christie has moved on the Male side of the football field, and I'm telling you what right now, Nero may have a bit of an injury, but he was not going to go down on that one. I mean, it took everything Malik Malone had to bring that to bring that big fella down.
Jake risked a punt. He would like to get his best punt of the night off here, or else Male's got excellent field position. Wakefield and Smith back to receive, and Rist may have gotten his worst kick of the night as it will bounce the other way, and at the 36 is where this drive starts, and if our clock is right, We're a second inside 5 to play in the football game.
And you're going to hear the Male fans get fired up because they realize what I said earlier in this quarter, that everything seemed to shift toward Male, especially when they got that stop. And I said if they take one down here and score, it's kind of playing into their game. Well, here it is. Game kind of on the line here. It is with 4:59. We think there's 4:59 left. As you said, there's been some clock problems. But all they got to do is take one down here and punch it in. Male, the #1 team in the state, and they've got the lead back. It's been a great back-and-forth game, though, hasn't it, Robert?
It has indeed. Football at the 36, where it is first down and 10. We think 4:59 remains in the game as Mattingly goes upstairs. Wants it all, passes to Wakefield. Wakefield shoved down to the 5, and there is no flag.
You know, there was some contact there, but I guess the official is saying, you know what, that's uncatchable. And a lot of times as an official, if you think, hey, the ball's uncatchable, I'm not going to throw the flag here with the football game as late as it is and, you know, a 32-29 game, so you got to give credit to the official. Maybe he said, hey, that's uncatchable.
Of course, with today's athlete, I'm wondering if anything is uncatchable these days.
Especially with Wakefield.
Second down, 10 at the 36. Kane spins inside the 33 and backs his way with a help from his friends to the 30.
Tremendous crowd. Commissioner Julian Tackett in the house here tonight. Commissioner of the KHSAA. See him down there walking into the back of the end zone.
And everybody that came about 3 or 4 hours ago still here.
Yeah. Well, we're here, and that's what matters right now. Great working with you, Robert.
You as well. Mattingly setting up the screen. Kane's got it. And he's got a first inside the 25.
I'm telling you, Robert, if he doesn't stumble at about the 32, he may take that. It was a little stumble that slowed him down just enough for the manual defender to pull him down. I tell you what, though, I like the call there by Louisville Male. Here they are, late in the game. This is the way this game always is. It seems to always go down to the wire, no exception tonight.
Kane stumble resulted in the Kane cleat coming off. So Kane is on the sidelines, and Wilkerson in the backfield on a first down and 10 to the 23. Inside 4 to play. Mattingly almost picked off.
Well, he reached up. The defensive back reached up with his left hand, and that's one of the backup. He actually has been playing a lot tonight. Tyrone Howard. He reached up with his left hand and tried to tap it to himself, but the ball just would not come back down to his arms. And man, he was pounding the turf when he got it down. Said, man, I should have had me a pick in the Male manual game.
Second down, 10 at the 23. Kane has got the cleats on and is back in.
Christie's saying the time on the clock is correct, which is 3:51, so that is correct.
All right, so 3:51 to play. Mattingly. Pass is complete.
What a great diving catch. You won't see that any better at any level than Avery Haynes, a 6-foot, 175-pound senior, knew where the chain was, dove for it, made a great diving catch, and kept the feet in bounds. That's spectacular. That's why this is the rivalry game.
And he's got Male within striking distance, first and goal at the 9. Hand off to Kane. Kane inside the 5, battles his way to the 4.
At some point, Robert and Christie, I got to wonder if I'm manual. If I don't want some time, if they're going to go ahead and score here, go ahead and let them score. Let them get it. At least you'll have some time to possibly pull the game out yourself because, there's 3:19 to go here in the game. It's 32-29.
Second and goal from the 4.
Flag.
May have an offside.
Yeah, I think Manuel jumped offside, Christie. The officials have done a really good job here tonight with this game. It's a great crew.
And here's the call. It is offsides. Half the distance to the goal. Second down from the 2.
Both teams have showed me a lot tonight. You know, Mayo jumping out early, you know, possibly going up 21-0. Manual got the stop, and then the big run by Nero got Manual ignited, and then they came back on a 32-7 run, and right now it's 32-29, but Mayo here threatening to score and retake the lead here late in the game, 2:55 to play.
Kane. Looked like Kane wanted to launch one from the 3 and dive towards the end zone. Stays on the ground and is dropped behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's a big-time play there, and that was a nice play by him. Dorsey making the play there is who I saw, and there were a couple players there for DePont Manuel's defense.
Big third down here. 3rd and goal from the 3. Clock winding down near 2 minutes. Hand off to Kane, trying to get around the end. Smashed at the 7. Make that back at the 4. Wesley Overstreet on the stop.
Boy, Overstreet made a nice play. So 4th down here. If you're Mayo, do you kick the field goal to tie it? Or do you go for it here? You know, their kicker obviously has a good leg, but his last attempt, he did pull it off to the right a little bit.
If you kick, you're trying about a 21-yarder, maybe a 24-yarder.
Yeah, high school kicker.
Right.
High school kicker make that. I mean,
from the right hash mark, so you've got a little bit of an angle issue.
I mean, that's an extra point, right? Pretty much. It is. I mean,
except of course, an extra point is right down the middle. There's the
difference.
Yeah. Timeout on the field. 1:33 to play. Will Mail try to get the lead or try to tie? We'll find out when we come back. The Great American Rivalry Series brought to you by the United States Army. Seconds left. It is 4th down and goal. Mail will go for it. Mail has 3 timeouts left.
Yeah.
Thinking that if they don't make it, maybe they get the football back.
Yeah, exactly. This is just showing a lot of confidence in your quarterback and your offense if you're Coach Wolf. It's not showing that you don't think your kicker can make a field goal. It's showing you got more confidence that your offensive unit. And now we're going to get a timeout called by DePont Manuel to let Mail think about it a little bit more. But I don't think there's any doubt that Coach Wolf saying, hey, we're going to go for it right here. We're not going to try to kick a field goal and tie. We're going to go for the win.
So with the timeout, let's take one as well. Great American Rivalry Series on a chilly Friday night in Louisville, Kentucky. And it's brought to you by the United States Army and Hi Marketing.
On the field or in the bleachers, get your game day gear from Hibbett Sports.
Mail will go for it. After the second consecutive DuPont Manual timeout. They have no timeouts left. Mail still with their full complement of 3. It is 4th down from the 5. Kane in motion, Mattingly. Incomplete, intended for Wakefield.
Great play.
1:29 to go.
Ryan West, remember that. He's the one that caused the problem for Mattingly, caused him to hurry his pass a little bit. DuPont Manuel is probably going to have to give a game ball to number 1. Watch the play as we see it again. Watch from the right side there. Here it comes. Right there, West was the one barreling down on the quarterback, and then caused the pass to be thrown a little low, a little bit outside.
West has been in the face of Mattingly all night long, and he just created an incomplete pass on 4th down that gives the football back to DuPont Manuel. Up the middle of the run. Up to the 14. I believe that was just the quarterback keeper by Motley.
Yeah. And you'll see Male start to burn some timeouts here in a 32-29 game. You know, you hate to second guess yourself, but probably the place kicker over there for Male is probably going, you know, I would at least like to have my opportunity to see if I can tie it up. But, you know, great play, credit where it's due to the great play by Ryan West, the outside backer for DuPont Manuel.
1 minute, 18 seconds left to play in this football game. If the clock is right, we believe it is. I do want to say thanks again to Wave 3 News, your home for the biggest events of 2014. The Winter Olympics, Thunder over Louisville, Kentucky Oaks, the 140th running of the Kentucky Derby, with live coverage from Wave 3 News on your TV, your computer, and on your phone. Watch it all live on Wave 3 News. And we say thank you very much, Wave 3. A minute 18 to play. Well, part of the game plan when you got 3 timeouts left is to stop DuPont Manuel if you are Male and call the timeouts with an opportunity to get the football back. They weren't anticipating that Motley 9-yarder that's got a 2nd down and 1. Now, if you pick up a 1st down and you are DuPont Manuel, chances are you may have wrapped it up.
Yes, if you move the chains, and it looks like they're going to move them right here. It's very close.
It will depend on the spot. The Crimsons say they've got the 1st, but the officials yet to indicate.
A lot of the Male fans are already hitting the exits over there here. That 1st down will move the chains. And Coach Dr. Oliver Lucas, Christy Thomas will be down on the field. Dr. Oliver Lucas, if he wins this, can still say that he's never lost a Male.
Timeout called. 32-29. 1 minute, 11 seconds left to play in the football game. The 6th ranked 6-2 DuPont Manuel team may be 71 seconds away from upsetting the top-ranked team in the state of Kentucky.
And what's so impressive about it is this Male team had just come from back-to-back wins over powerhouses, St. X and Trinity. And now you come in here, you roll in here to Manual Stadium, but you know what? That's what makes this rivalry game one of the best games going, because you just don't care about the record. You got the 6-2 team, the powerhouse 8-0 Male Bulldogs, and the 6-2 team looks like they're going to take them down tonight.
Barring a turnover, there's been one turnover in the ball game. It was Nero who coughed it up, wound up not hurting DuPont Manuel. So the instructions, I have absolutely no doubt from the sidelines, is hang on to the football. And as a matter of fact, DuPont Manuel has gone into the victory formation.
Yeah, because Male only has 1 timeout left, so they'll burn that. And then a minute 8 seconds, and then Manuel can run a couple more victory formation plays, and Manuel will go to 7-2, and Male will drop to 8-1. Now the debate will begin. Is Scott County, who was a big winner tonight over a good Dunbar team, 54-8, does Scott County move back up to number 1 in the state? Probably will.
Well, if you were watching the coverage about 8 minutes into the first quarter and you stepped away with Male on top 14-zip, you've rejoined us. Male ain't got that lead no more.
Because DuPont Manuel went on a 32-7 run at that point.
And at one point had an 11-point lead, so the double-digit advantages swapped hands. You had a 14-point lead for Male, and then about midway through the second half, you had a 11-point advantage for DuPont Manuel. And right now a 3-point lead with 2nd down and 10 and no more timeouts left for Male. There is no way they can stop the clock.
Christy Thomas will get Coach Dr. Oliver Lucas after the game on the post game. I love that sideline reporter. That brings such a different, well, I tell you, they knocked the quarterback back, and you heard all the Manual fans saying, what? Whoa, throw the flag. But there'll be no flag on that. Or maybe they did. Yeah, they did throw a flag, didn't they? A late one. A late flag coming in on that one.
What a ball game for Nero, by the way.
Yes. Gutted it out, didn't he? He got the injury late in the ball game, but he gutted it out and showed why he's a superstar he is, and backed up what Coach Lucas said to us before the game, that he's a kid that's all about team first and great work ethic, and it's paying off for the young man, isn't it?
It is indeed, and I like the sportsmanship shown between he and Tyrone Wilkerson. A Crimson and a Bulldog patting one another on the helmet going, man, what a ball game.
What a game. It's been a classic. There's been a lot of classics in this male manual rivalry. This just adds to the list.
Male can't stop the clock. First down and 10 to the 27. Motley will do this once, maybe twice more.
Male players will be very upset. They knew this is one they should have had, but DuPont Manual showing why it's a rivalry game at its best. The clock will run out. The male players down, very dejected. But you know what? They've still got one regular season game, and then they got the playoffs. So if you're a male fan saying, hey, we're a good football team, let's recircle the wagons, this thing's okay.
One more snap of the football, and the upset will be complete.
DuPont Manual has upset the state's #1 ranked team.
And the celebration begins. 11,000 fans witness 6 beating 1. DuPont Manual upset winners over the top-ranked team in the state of Kentucky by that final score of 32-29.
And I know the male fans got to be thinking, maybe we should have kicked the field goal there late in the game and taken our chances in overtime. But give credit where credit's due. Manual stood the test, 32-7 run. Great job by Dr. Oliver Lucas, and Christy Thomas is going to collar Dr. Matter of fact, Christy's got Coach Lucas right now. Let's go down to Christy.
First of all, gaining momentum. Male was gaining momentum in that fourth quarter, but your defense showed up big.
Well, it's one of the this time with a laughter on this in this case. Give credit all to in the game. This game was what it was built up to be. I'm just so happy for the community. I'm proud of our kids because when they gain momentum, we bend, but we didn't break, and our kids seized the moment.
Fourth straight win for you, Male. You have not lost. Well, talk a little bit about that.
Well, that's a blessing. Thanks be to God, and it's a blessing. It's an attribute to our kids, our fans. It's not about. It's about the kids that done this. The seniors that's going out, they're outstanding group of young men. Are the vision about this and it came true. It's good. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. And this one is over. It is a victory that belongs to DuPont Manual by 3. We're back to wrap it up after this timeout. The Great American Rivalry Series. It's being brought to you by iHigh Marketing and the United States Army.
Is that who won it, Nero?
It's over. DuPont Manual, the champions in the old rivalry that began in 1893, and on this night in 2013, it's the Crimsons victorious over the Bulldogs. Gary, you've got some stats for us.
Yeah, Michael Nero tonight, big night, 29 carries, 226 yards with the injury, 4 touchdowns. And on that one touchdown, to me, that kind of summed up this rivalry when he literally carried about 3 or 4 male defenders and that one down on about the 5-yard line. That, to me, was what this rivalry's all about. Nero's got to be star of the game, 229 yards, 4 touchdowns. He gutted it out tonight. Male is a fabulous football team. Don't think that team right there, Louisville Male, cannot win the 6A state championship because they're good enough to do it. Tonight they fell a little short. I'm still wondering about the field goal there late in the game. If I had to do over, if Coach Wolf had to do over, he probably kicks the field goal. It's nothing more than an extra point, really. And as you said, it was the right hash, which would have been a good angle. But, hey, they went for the win. Give them credit. And what a great play turned in. I believe it was West. Yes, it was Ryan West who made that defensive play, putting pressure on Mattingly, the quarterback, that kind of sealed the deal. What a great game, Robert. A classic, and it always seems to be a classic when DuPont Manual and Mayo meet on the football field, and another great classic tonight.
Wow, the Crimsons celebrate with a student body, and the Bulldogs find solace at midfield. This one is over. It is a victory that belongs to DuPont Manual. Your final score, 32-29. Thanks so much to all the folks who have made our coverage possible. The United States Army, iHigh Marketing. Thank you, Christy, for the great job down on the sidelines. Gary up in the press box. James Crenshaw, our executive producer. All the staff that has brought coverage tonight. We appreciate it. It's over. We see you next week in Ohio. Robert Williamson saying so long for the great American rivalries.